Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Um, I don't know. Am I being heard? Okay, let me check out here.
Fine.
All right. Right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here on time. So, if you're watching us on LinkedIn, wherever you're watching from, you could just say hello to our speakers on the comment section. Say hello. And you can also share that we're live. So, on behalf of Germanitis, it's my pleasure to welcome everybody, both our speakers and our very own participants, to the inaugural edition of Faceless. A lot of people were asking me what Faceless is, where I got the name from. So I'm just going to explain it better for those still wondering. Faceless basically implies that the event is not exactly about the individuals who will be speaking or even me. The event is about our work we put into this community, bridging a gap in our various fields because all of us are actually in different industries at the time. So we're here to just make groundbreaking intersections of this field. And today we'll be focusing on the nexus of AEC and tech, the expert analysis and insights, and would reflect on a lot of technical innovations. We reflect on a lot of technical innovations ranging from AI to IoT. We have blockchain, and making sure that our collaborations are actually worth it, because we all know that the world is evolving rapidly, and those of us at the heart of the building infrastructure and designing sustainable environments, we need to embrace this technology. So these next few hours, we'll just have all of you here to share your perspectives, and I'm actually thrilled to have these distinguished speakers today. Like, we have thought leaders in our midst, we have founders in our midst, we have practitioners in our midst who are already shaping the future in their various industries. And I hope you will gain valuable insights and engage in thought provoking discussions, because they will spark new ideas and inspire actions. Once again, welcome to Faceless. And I'm glad to have everyone here with me today. So, I'm still waiting for my comments. For those our speakers, you can comment. Our participants, you can comment. Let people know that we are live. Let people know that we are live. Also call on our first speaker because I'm trying to keep to time here. Our first speaker is Theophilus Olaniran Adegoke, a very good friend of mine, and she's a graduate civil engineer from a prestigious landmark university who earned a second class upper degree. He's very smart, so don't mind that result. And he's currently completing his National Youth Service at High Speed Consults in Abuja. He has gained extensive experience in civil and structural engineering, having been opportune to be a part of the executions of multiple projects. And he has handled several projects and conducted design reviews for other engineers. He's very good with our software designs in the engineering field, and he's very passionate about incorporating technology in the engineering sector. He'll be focusing on introducing technology in AEC education, preparing the next generation of Nigerian professionals for a tech driven future. So, without any further ado, I believe I would be passing the mic to Olaniran Theophilus to take us further. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. Hello,
Yes,
can you?
yes, I can hear
Okay,
you.
okay, can you hear me? All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Aziba, for that introduction. I'm really grateful. My name is Olaniran Theophilus. I'm happy to be here for this opportunity. I'm really grateful for all the organizers of this and for giving me the opportunity to actually come here to share my own ideas and my own perspective on this. So, the topic I'll be speaking on is introducing technology in AEC education, preparing the next generation of Nigerian professionals for a tech-driven future. So I'll first start with the introduction. What is the relationship between architecture, engineering, construction, that's AEC, and technology? So what's architecture? Architecture is the art or practice of designing and constructing buildings. We all know, if we are here, we should know what AEC stands for now. AEC, Architecture, Engineering, Construction. Architecture designs and they're also involved in constructing buildings. Engineering, a branch of science and technology concerned with the design, building, and use of engines, machines, and structures. So the architects design, the engineers, we are the ones that do the building, the designing of the structural elements and everything. What's construction? Construction is just the action of building something. Typically a large structure. All these definitions I'm giving out is from Oxford Dictionary. So, AEC industry. Um, my favorite definition of this of AEC as an industry is the collaborative efforts where architects design, engineers refine, and construction converts ideas into realities. Where the architects design, engineers refine, and construction converts ideas into realities. That's my favorite definition of this. It was given by Vector Solutions. So yeah, it's a kind of collaboration between architecture, engineering, construction, and all this is just in the structural field mostly. So on what technology, our basic knowledge of technology is the application of scientific knowledge, methods and skills to create tools, machines and processes to resolve problems, improve efficiency and ensure comfort in our affairs. So technology just to make our life easy. So introducing architecture and measuring it, introducing AEC and measuring it to technology. That's making the processes of AEC to be easier, to be more comfortable. Because the world is evolving today and it's evolving today and we are moving towards more and more towards technology, improving technology. So um AEC is moving also. the industry of AEC is moving also, and there are new lights of technology that is being brought into our system. So today we are just looking at how we can introduce this into our education system. So now why technology integration is critical in education and the benefits of introducing technology in AEC curriculum. So I'll be highlighting some technology tools and their increasing roles in various industries and the impact that it's having on AEC practices. So I'll start with the most common new form technology that's being incorporated in different businesses today. That's AI, automation, and artificial intelligence. So in other industries, we see where AIs are being utilized in manufacturing industries, in medical and healthcare industries, in logistics actually. There are some hospitals where own operations they use AIs to carry out operations and everything. So this is AI helps in reducing human errors and making their operation more smooth and well organized. So how is it being utilized in EC? We can see that nowadays, these current generations, we use AI to in project management, in risk analysis, and evaluation. AI tools have been very effective in our architectural field and engineering by optimizing our designs, our building designs. We have seen where our softwares have been using AI tools. We've been using AI tool in our designs, in our softwares to help to speed up our design processes and also it's helping our efficiency. So AI has been very effective in our current technology trend in construction also. You will see AI driven robotics and machineries that are doing a lot of things. Yes, you see machines that build, construct, lay blocks well, automatically. So the machines they just put like the designs on our tabs and our devices, and this they'll watch the AI driven machines. They'll lay blocks. They'll lay other elements of structures. Some of those all those prefabricated structural members. We see AI machines, different videos that are all out there. We see AI machines that are actually doing all this automatically without human input. So the second tool I'll be talking about is BIM, that's building information modeling. And other industries like real estate industries and urban planning, BIM is used for creating digitalized representations of building and infrastructures, and it has allowed for better visualization of projects. So in AEC, BIM is one of our basic tools in designing. BIM has transformed revolutionized construction process by combining design, construction, and operational data all in a single digital model. It has improved collaboration across architecture, engineering, construction, and facility management, where the designs can be actually the all the different aspects of it, of construction, where the architects, the engineer, the construction, the facility management, we all work hand in hand with our designs and everything. So it makes it easier. It improves our accuracy. It encourages collaboration. It reduces waste, and even ensuring maximization of time. Then the third one I'm talking about is 3D printing. Across industries, we see where 3D printing is being utilized in textile designs, in customization, in bioprinting. That's in the medical aspect, healthcare industry. We see it where they use 3D printers for bioprinting for prosthetics. And in manufacturing industry, we also see where 3D printers are used for producing custom components and other fashion worlds, and even the fashion world. So in AEC, what we see 3D printing do, we see where they use 3D printing machine in construction to construct entire structures. That's they just put mixed concrete in this machine, and it prints the entire structure. So the same way 3D printing is used for in other textiles and fashion industry, you see it in AEC also. So That's another aspect of of technology tool that we are using today. Then I'll talk on the drones also. Across industries, we see drones where they are used for modern agriculture. We see them in they use drones for irrigation. We see drones for used for crop monitoring. That's in the agricultural aspects. Then you see drones used for logistics nowadays. Many of those logistics company, Uber and the rest, they use drones for logistics. You see them drones doing deliveries. So that's another aspect where our technology is moving in the world today. Drones are also used in videography and photography. Then in AAC, where drones are being utilized, you see them used for survey. Basically, you see them used for land survey. They are used for carrying out appraisals of structures, for project management, monitoring, I mean, and even for site inspection. We see them utilize drones in those aspects. Let me talk on VR also, VR and AR. Um, VR is used in different industry. We know what VR has for now, but then in AEC, it's used for enhance and create detailed visual representations of projects where clients can see in 3D mode. Like they'll feel themselves being in the design, the construction design, in the design of the architects, so they can have um detailed expressions of those designs, and it helps in decision making actually and reduce errors. All those errors, you can see everything, so you are seeing the errors and everything, so you can correct it on time before actual construction of those things. It allows for visual walkthroughs and helping identify potential issues early before execution of the structure. There are other technologies, but I'll not be talking much on those ones because of our time. We have big data and analytics where they are used to track performance metrics and predict risks and make more informed decisions. We have IoT, Internet of Things. It is where it's utilized for in buildings, the sense of where they are embedded in buildings and construction equipment to for real-time data and structural health and energy usage, machinery performance. Then we have cloud computing and collaborating tools. So now I'll be talking on exposing students. Why it's important to expose students to technology tools during their education better. So yeah, exposing them students to technology tools during their education time, during their time during their schooling time is better to prepares them for real world challenges. And I'll be stating my reasons. First, I'll be talking on practical skill development. When students are being exposed to these tools, like BIM, that's BIM, AI, and 3D modeling softwares, and other tools also. They tend to gain hands-on experience that goes beyond theoretical knowledge that is being taught in school. Nowadays, we don't see them utilize these tools in schools. We have many of us were not taught. We didn't even touch any software when we were in school. Only if you're in good schools, though, they don't teach them. We did AutoCAD, but many of those things we don't go in depth into them because this is where the industry is moving towards. But we don't tend to focus more on this technology. Instead, we are still going back to the theoretical knowledge of teaching. We are doing theory, but we're not actually going through the practical aspects of it. So the practical skill development is very important in students, and it prepares them when they are coming out into the to face the industry. Another point I'm raising is problem solving and innovation. Um, Technology has it builds a mindset of innovation. When you expose students to technology, this mindset of innovation is built in them. When students become acquainted with advanced tools, they learn how to enhance processes, to solve challenges creatively, and even implement new methodologies to solve problems in the industry. Another point I've raised is adaptability to industry changes. The AEC industry, as it is a dynamic industry. It changes. New methods are coming out every day. It's evolving rapidly with the advancements in technology. So exposing students early to these technologies prepares students to adapt quickly to new methods and tools preparing them to face the industry changes. So preparing them in school with this technology, making them acquainted with it, when they come out and see all this, it won't be new to them. That's another thing aspect I'm raising. Because many of us, when we came out to the real world, what we saw is not what we were taught in school. The things that the technology is what is being used in the industry, what the current tools, what the current technology trends are. We are not taught all these things in schools. And so we begin to learn all these things when we're outside, but we should have built a foundation. A foundation should be built on in school. Then global competitiveness, building this trend in schools, a technology trend in school, the global standard is generally driven by technology. So building this trend in schools, it makes the students master these tools and they could be able to meet international benchmarks, making them hotcakes both locally and even globally. This will open doors across borders for collaborations and even give them the opportunity to work multinational in multinational environments. Then the last point I'll bring, okay, no, have two more points. That's collaboration and efficiency. The use of technology tools, enhance collaboration between the AEC industry. Students that have been trained to get accustomed with these tools can better communicate. They can coordinate their jobs and cooperate to achieve efficient results on various projects. And the last point I'm bringing is nurture. It's building this trend in schools, introducing technology in schools actually nurtures attractiveness and passion. It nurtures attractiveness and passion. When in those days, when we say when I started school, when I see civil engineers, I was not impressed because majority of them they are on sites, whether it's on everything, and they are stressed out communicating with the workers and everything. You see them also being dirty. They put their hands in a lot of cement and everything. I was not impressed until I saw someone that is my mentor today, Engineer Jide. He was the one that brought me into the area of software, where you use software like Plota, Tekla, and all those things to design the structures. And he has his own company, consultancy firm, and he's always neat, dressed well, he has cars and everything. So I looked at it, I was like, this is the kind of life I want to live. So when we look at those people, when we look at those former engineers that were in the industry, young generations don't want to live that way. We want to live a flashy life, get the money. So looking at people in the tech industry now, that's where they are going to. As I mean, people leave civil engineering, going to study to learn tech after school. They will leave their certificates and follow technology and tech and UIX design and all those things because they are not interested in going to site and putting their hands to cement and everything, getting themselves dirty. Instead, they want to learn the new trends. They want to live comfortable life and get the money without all these stress. That's the youth exuberance, So this point now, that's importance of technology because when they see things like that, they get interested in the course. They want to learn. They want to get into the industry of AEC. Okay, now I'm talking on the current gaps in Nigerian educational curriculum. There are a lot of gaps. There are a lot of gaps in our um, industry today. Because when we look at it, let me use my own area of my course of study. That's when you need to talk about this. When I was in school, we about to do a project. This is a story of my own experience. We're about to do our project, and I went on IT. I've already experienced using softwares to do designs and everything. So they asked us to choose our project topic. I chose something to do with uh what's it called retrofitting. Yes. So I wanted to do a design on a retrofitting on Prota and present the new methods of retrofitting to as my project topic. If I presented this outside Nigeria as a project topic, it would be applauded and it will be supported by even the lecturers there. But I presented this in my school, and basically the lecturers they don't really understand this thing. So they gave me go ahead. But someone that understood it was one of the lecturers that actually understood it. It was like I shouldn't go for it because many of them don't understand this and they will not be able to like assess my projects. So I should change topic and change topic to what they wanted me to create a model of blocks and everything and test on it and everything. So that's what they want to see. That's what they're used to, and this has not changed right from the time of our fathers. It's same projects that they do, testing blocks with this, testing concrete with this, mixing concrete with parts with fibers and all this. That's what they continue to do as projects. And till today, we still do those as projects. Meanwhile, there are technology, there are new things coming out where we're supposed to expand. They don't understand these things. Let me say another aspect again. During my IT, my supervisor came to the office and he saw us with systems and everything. He went to talk to our company-based supervisor, and he was like, he's happy with what he's seeing, that we are here learning new things, and that he said, but when he went to other sites, that he saw people there that he was impressed with them. He saw them doing tests on concrete, doing slump tests, doing getting their hands dirty apparently. That's he was impressed with that. And my supervisor after he left was like, this is not what he expects. He wants people to see that this is where the industry is moving towards technology. That he is not happy hearing that they are doing slump tests. Students are doing slump tests as IT students instead of learning the main thing. So all this is what builds us in technology. We need to move forward in our educational system. Our lecturers, the school curriculum, a lot of things are dragging us back. So moving forward, now let me talk on the implementation strategies. My own strategies that I came up with. That's the first strategy. Curriculum renovation. That's very important. The general knowledge that we need to actually change our curriculum. We need to improve, revise, and then refurbish our curriculum in Nigeria. Courses that include training on BIM, on AI, on other relevant technologies have to be encouraged and introduced in our curriculum. Importance also have to be pleased on teaching the current trends in technology because we are way back currently, and that is being the current technology that is being utilized in the market today. We need to republish the curriculum to actually place more importance on this. These tools actually should be introduced from an early stage to architectural and engineering programs in schools. My second strategy is partnerships with tech companies. I suggest that there should be partnerships between educational institutions and tech firms. This will actually help the students to get access to the latest trends. It will keep the students in touch with the current tools and platforms being utilized. My third strategy, training for educators, as lecturers. They need to undergo training so that they will get themselves in touch with this trend because what you don't know, you can't teach. So there's actually great need for educators to undergo training programs. The lecturers, the professors, they need to be trained on on these technologies so they can actually effectively train the students. Then funding and resources. My third point is funding and resources. The government has a big role to play in this. The government has to support schools to promote this movement. Private sectors should also invest in schools and students. Partnerships to be built both locally and international, so that the necessity will be encouraged. Necessity of in introducing necessary infrastructures for tech integration in schools. It should be actually considered. So now the real world examples of this, I on my PowerPoint slide, I don't think it's being presented here. And the slide, there are videos where we see you don't even need a slide. Go to YouTube, you'll see all these things where the current technologies in countries like UK and Japan, China, Singapore, Finland, China, all these countries, Korea, they build they build this foundation, introducing technology right from their time in school. They are being introduced to all these technologies. When they come out to the world, they are not new to this. They see, and that's why we see all the infrastructure going on in those places. Very few of our engineers, of our architects, of our constructors, anybody in the construction field, very few of them can actually build or um embark on projects like those ones going in UAE, those projects going in UK, in US, all those kind of projects. I'm not saying that we have low standards people in the industry today. No, they are very, 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 very intellectual engineers in the system that have um they have potential, great potential in Nigeria. Without all this introduction to all this tech, we have seen different structures going on in Lagos, in Abuja, in many places. So imagine building a foundation with this, introducing students with this technology right from time in school. It's you can imagine the kind of imagination, the kind of preparedness we'll have in the industry. So there's potential in our students today. I want to talk about the better innovation and more efficient project education that can actually go on in Nigeria. Students who are highly skilled in technology applications, they can actually be utilized in the AEC industry. So I want to urge stakeholders, Nigerian educators, education sector to prioritize tech adoption in AEC curriculum. We need to work on the students in the school. I wanted to in school that time landmark. We were planning. There's this kind of thing we did. The IT students, people that went to design companies that were introduced to technology in their time in IT. We gathered ourselves together that we would train the lower levels that are going to be going on IT also. We will teach them on of the basics of technology of using the software. So we talked on that and we started to we planned on utilizing we started, but then our efforts were kind of frustrated. So these are the kind of movements that we should encourage in schools where students that have been exposed to these things can train other students. People from outside can introduce this into students. All those things can be encouraged. Then in conclusion, I will be going with that the right tools and with the right tools and education, Nigerian students have the potential not only to excel but to lead global innovation in the ACE industry. By embracing tech in our classrooms, we can empower the coming generation of engineers, architects, and builders to set new standards and create sustainable solutions and compete on a global scale, proving that Nigeria is not just following the future of AEC, but also helping in shaping that future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was mind blowing. That was mind blowing. Thank you very much. So, schools, please, let's put this in place. So we are not bricklayers. Please, we want to also be in the tech space. Abi? So, thank you very much. So, I'll be calling on our next speaker, the bishop. His parents knew who he was on time. Akin Thomas Bishop is a software and blockchain developer with 3 years of experience and a deep passion for artificial intelligence. He holds a computer science degree from Landmark University and has interned at the National Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. He was also a finalist in HNG. That is amazing. He served as the president of Nigerian Association of Computer Science Students, Landmark University Chapter 2023 to 2024 set, where he led the initiatives to foster tech innovation. He is the founder of Alpinist Movement. If you are not clapping in that comment section, you are wrong. A community of 100 plus young tech professionals focused on developing innovative solutions and leading across various sectors. There's a new software coming out, Stora. He is part of the team. So please, please, please join me. Welcome Akin Thomas Bishop. He'll be speaking on creating collaborative solutions in AEC with technology. Let's welcome him. Thank you. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Hepzibah. I really appreciate the introduction, and I want to also acknowledge all the speakers that are here today. The first session was really amazing. Thank you very much for so much insight to the. I will be speaking on creating collaborative solutions in AEC with technology. But before I move forward, forgive me just a bit of a correction. I'm not exactly a part of the Torah building team. I am not exactly a part of it. Just to put it out there. Thank you very much. So I'll be speaking on creating collaborative solutions in AEC with technology. I am calling this topic breaking silos because I would explain what silos is along the way, and this is not new to any of us that are already in this program. What AEC means: architecture focuses on design and aesthetics, engineering brings functionality and safety, construction puts this design into practice and works within a budget and according to plan. And just like the first speaker has already explained, technology provides tools, digital platforms, and it just helps industry work faster and more sustainably. I like to look at AEC like three fabrics, and you want to sew a very nice looking maybe attire, and technology is like the needle and thread that brings these fabrics together to make a nice looking attire. And what I want to discuss today in my session is what the problem is in in creating collaborative solutions and how technology can birth solutions. So first, what is silos? I define silos SILOS as a structure that is controlled by a unit and is isolated from the rest of the organization or poorly connected with other structures. In a very simple way, it's separate departments or teams working independently. And that can be a problem if you want to sew agbada, for instance, now, and you want to have three different colors. That's architecture, engineering, and construction as maybe your fabrics for that particular cloth. And architecture wants to work independently without collaborating with engineering and construction. Many things can go wrong. It's probably a color riot or the tailor will not do a good job in bringing these fabrics together. But if technology can if I mean these three industries can collaborate with the help of technology, then a very nice attire will be created. So before we move forward, what are the common barriers between these disciplines, AEC? The first one, like the first speaker has placed a lot of emphasis to, is communication barriers. Architects, engineers, and contractors often use different softwares, and it can lead, in fact, I believe, is the first problem and the first barrier that leads to every other problem. Anytime there's a relationship between two or more persons, communication is already very key. And when communication is broken, there will be breakfast. So we have many people use different softwares and have distinct workflows and follow separate timelines, and it leads to miscommunication and information gaps. And anytime there is communication gaps, it leads to lack of data integration. So software CAD and structural analysis for engineers and project management tools for contractors can result in data silos, meaning architects are now working independently without collaborating with engineers and contractors. And along the presentation, I would talk on some examples in this country, Nigeria, that have resulted in bad, bad buildings and people that have lost lives and properties just because of this AEC silos. So when bad communication continues, it's often seen as an effect of organizational differences or cultural differences. Each field has its own priority, right? Architecture focuses on design. Engineers focuses on functionality and safety. Correct me if I'm wrong. Contractors prioritize budgets and timelines, and when these goals are conflicting, it can create tension and misunderstanding. An architect is trying to design, and sometimes it is not done with respect to the engineer's safety measures or functionality. That can create a problem, and over time would not result in the solution that people would want to get. So, how can technology break silos in AEC for collaboration to be made? The first thing I would say is the key factor or the key focus that these three fields come together to do. at the end of the day, holistically speaking, is to create structures and spaces that meet human needs. So when these three industries can key on the focus or focus on the intersection of collaboration, these three fields can come together to help technology, and these three fields can come together to best their own solutions as one. So, like the first speaker has said again, there are many technologies that can help in fostering this collaboration, like BIMs for BIMs, like they are just models that allow real-time updates and access to all team members. It's like a shared model in a single mode, a shared and single model in one place. Tools like Autodesk Revit can help with that. Then there are cloud-based collaborations like Autodesk BIM and Procore. I'm going to give an example of a building that is currently going on in Lagos that they are currently using cloud-based collaboration. Then virtual reality and artificial intelligence for predictive insights, like the first speaker said. So good examples of industries or good examples of structures that are currently going on in this country. I had to do some deep research to find out what are the companies that are actually putting this thing we're talking about into work, because I'm sure there's nothing new under the sun. So definitely there should be people that are already putting AEC into work, collaborating with technology to solve human needs and then to create wonderful structures and all of that. And many of the companies I was finding, they were abroad. So it really concerned me that is it that in Nigeria we're not doing so much. So I started to look deeper into Nigerian solutions. Who are the people that are doing good things, collaborating AEC and technology? And I saw that we are not that hopeless, I have to say, because places like Eco Atlantic City, they have been hailed as one of Africa's largest and most ambitious real estate projects because they are thriving because of their strong integration of AEC and technology. In fact, they are considered to be a model for other urban planning and smart city developments in Nigeria. And in fact, the ARC that is currently going on in Canal and Otta, they are also an excellent example of a project where AEC professionals are collaborating closely with modern technology like cloud-based collaborations using the Procure tool. I think I pronounced it right. Because as they do these things, they are fostering innovation and they are building more people to do likewise. But unfortunately, they are bad examples. And right now, the bad examples are even more than the good ones. The Lekki Gardens building collapsed in 2016 in Lagos because there were poor structural designs and engineering, lack of proper supervision, and they failed to use technology. I was trying to do some research on this particular building, and I saw that the major reason this building collapsed was because the architects refused to collaborate with the engineers, and there was a communication gap. So the designs were structured poorly to the functionality that the engineers wanted to bring into the whole building. And another bad example was Itafaji building. It collapsed after 30 years of it being built because they maintained it poorly. It was initially built for accommodation and then they turned it into a school without consulting. Again, communication gaps. They turned it into a school without consulting engineers to find out if it's going to function properly. They just got some contractors to turn it into a school real quick. And when it collapsed, unfortunately, lives were lost. So, implement, how can technology now come in? I I got something from what the first speaker said that actually made a point for me as well while in school. One of the major implementation challenges is the resistance to change. While in school, this is a little out of the subject, yeah. So during my final year, my when I was trying to do my project, I had a project idea that I wanted to use blockchain and artificial intelligence to solve a problem in the agricultural supply chain. And my project supervisor told me that that was too big. It was it was too large for a bachelor's degree. That's a master's degree project or a PhD project. That I should bring it down small. And I I me wanting to pass, I mean he's the one that eventually grade me. I brought it down and I made a LinkedIn post about the project after the external defense, and someone reached out to me that he really likes my project idea. Do I plan to enlarge it? And I told him yes, I've been doing some research to make it bigger than it already is. And During the conversation we were having, I just told him a bit of what my supervisor said, and he just shook his head. He was like, "We really, really need to work against the cultural mindset in leadership that we have in this nation, because there is a there's a large resistance to change, and if people, like the first speaker said, if we can educate people and students especially from their lowest levels and they grow up, they are being exposed to using these technologies to collaborate in these industries and to just birth new solutions and to birth new ideas. That is the major way that we will be able to create insight, and we'll just be able to create the solution that we want to birth. Because when we educate, you see, the word educate is actually a very, very interesting word. It's beyond sitting in front of a table and having a board in front of you. It actually means to build from within. It's a Latin word called educo. It's to build from within. And when people are educated, they are transformed from the way they think through exposure, through practical steps beyond theory. So when people are trained from their young ages, they would be able to grow up to learn how to collaborate with technology. Like I said in the beginning, I see AEC as three different fabrics, and technology like the needle and thread that brings these fabrics together. If there is a good tailor, then you would have a wonderful clothes. So there needs to be investment in the people that are even into this technology field, so they become good tailors to bring these fabrics together and just make a very nice looking tool. Another implementation challenge is balancing departmental autonomy with organizational goals. Many people that are in the individual fields, architecture, engineering, and um, construction, they try to make decisions and it is cornered into their own field only. What do I mean? They make siloed decisions, meaning decisions are often made within the boundaries of each discipline without consulting other stakeholders early enough in the project. So you see an architect wanting to design a building, yes, and he makes any decision he wants to make because architects focus on design and aesthetics. Probably he wants to have some nice looking monuments in front of the building. And according to the engineers, because they focus on safety, it's not advisable to put such a thing there, but they insist. Then the constructors put it into action and then they eventually build it. And over some time, something collapses, and then there's a big problem here and there. That means we just need to balance departmental autonomy within the organizational goal, and people need to work together by building a strong communication system, maximizing the tools that technology offers, and building their value in technology. Because when we build the value that we have in technology, there will always be room for change. And I feel like the organizations and the buildings or structures that are currently going on in the nation can serve as a model for many people going into this field to replicate and to even do better. Because the examples that I gave as good examples, I mean, they are recent times. That means this kind of things can still happen. And if we want to really make a difference, then we do it by doing it. So, in conclusion, breaking silos in the AEC industry requires a combination of technology and a strong cultural shift towards collaboration. We need to begin to change the way we think and go into this field with a large heart, I would say. Because if you're going to really make a difference, sometimes it's going to have to start from rebellion, going away from how our fathers used to do it and how people are still doing it today, to doing it the way it's meant to be. When I was doing some research on good structures in the world that are currently having AEC collaborate with technology, I found a lot of them online, many of them, and it was just inspiring to see those kind of structures, some things that we not even know exist on Earth. We can have those kind of things in this continent. We can have those kind of things in this country, in fact, if we would have a cultural shift towards collaboration and build our value in technology. I believe with what I have said over the last few minutes, we would be able to work properly with creating structures that meet human needs and just creating collaborative solutions in AEC with technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bishop. Thank you so much. All right, do we have any questions? Let me go back to LinkedIn to check if there are questions on the comment section. Any questions? Seems like all our speakers understand everything. But me, I have a question for let me bring Theophilus back. All right. So my question goes to both of you basically. Both of you had issues with your topic because one, it was too advanced for you, and two, your lecturers will understand. So my question is, why did both of you not convince your lecturer that it was worth the goal? Like, because if we are trying to say we need to improve our educational system, one person has to start it. If everybody is letting the lecturer win the debate, so who will start it? You get my question. So why didn't, or did you guys try to the point that you couldn't do it again or something? Let me know, please, so that our audience will also understand better.
On my part, when the lecturer brought this up, I understood what he meant. He wasn't saying it to my own detriment, he was saying it to my benefit, that these people don't, like the other lecturers, he understands some aspects of this. These other lecturers, many of them don't know anything about what I'm bringing forward. And yes, project is supposed to be about bringing new things up, but they will not be able to grade me if they don't understand what I am actually doing, and if they don't understand the work I put into it. Because when they see, when they don't see you modeling things, when, like in general, when the lecturers don't see you modeling things, like building, joining concrete, buying cement, buying stone, and they just, all you did was work on computer, work on the system in civil engineering. To them, you've not done enough. To them, you've not worked. You didn't put enough labor into it. So they want you to spend that money, and they want you to also physically construct something that they can see, so that they will know that yes, you actually did the work. If everything you just done this is on this software, to them you've not done anything, because they don't understand that putting brain to work is also even more than just physical labor. Because those kind of things you can pay someone else to do it for you. It's not compulsory for you to go and start mixing cement and everything. You can try pay someone to do that, but when you design yourself, you can still do it too, but it shows your intellect, because you cannot present what you don't know in terms of software. If someone else did the design for you, you can't effectively pass the knowledge of what you did in it. So I understood what he meant when he said that I shouldn't like put this out as my project topic and should join the others. So that was it. But if we actually train these educators and lecturers, they build the knowledge in all these technologies, there will be no instances like that. So I think that should be able to clear the point about it.
Thank you very much. For me, I actually stood my ground a bit and I eventually carried out what I wanted to carry out. It was just that another lecturer advised me to pass because my at the end of the day my project supervisor still didn't understand my topic and I had to consult, permit me not to call names, but then I had to consult another lecturer in the department that understood the topic even better. And thank God for me, he was in my panel in my final defense and the external defense. So another lecturer advised me to work with what my supervisor would understand better. And at some point I did because he didn't understand blockchain so well. And what I wanted to do was blockchain and artificial intelligence. My supervisor's point of view was one, this is going to be very bulky because I had a lot of extracurricular activities going on in final year, especially in the second semester. So he advised me to bring it down a bit. And he wanted to advise me to bring it down more. That was where the problem was because he didn't understand blockchain. And I stood my ground that I want to do this because I feel this is what is going to change the world. And I and another friend of mine, we had to work with his supervisor, and he helped both of us at the end of the day. And we even published about two papers at the end of the day, and it eventually made a lot of sense. So I have hope in my department because the curriculum has been changed, and the people that will be coming, at least after maybe the set that is coming now, the curriculum has been changed for them, so they would have more to deal with technologies like blockchain and Internet of Things in the department. So eventually, the lecturers that won't want to sit up and know beyond their scope, a lot of people allow what they know stop them from knowing what they don't know. So the lecturers that won't want to change that cultural mindset would have to change it, or the system will push them out. So that's how it works for me. I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yes, thank you very much. I just needed to clear the air for students so that they don't go and break bottle for their lecturer that Bishop said they must stand their ground. All right, so I would like to call on my next speaker. He is no other person than Oladimeji Toby, a seasoned data professional dedicated to democratizing, wow, data-driven decision-making for small businesses. He is the founder of Data Fellows, an emerging data consulting startup and a vibrant community that connects over 600 skilled African professionals with small to medium-sized businesses globally, offering accessible and affordable analytics solution to empower growth and innovation. Recently, Data Fellows was accepted into the League of Innovators Accelerator, a program with over 1,000 alumni who have created more than $1 billion in enterprise value. LOI offers 12 weeks training, mentorship, and access to $20 million VC fund with alumni featured in Forbes. Wow. Toby was also featured in AfriBlog's 2024. Please, if you are clapping, clap louder. He reaching over 75,000 subscribers. He is a graduate of Techstars Accelerator and is known for its 18,000 vetted freelancers who consistently deliver on time and on budget. In 2021, Toby ranked 7 among 52 entries in Global Data Hackathon, hosted by 10 Analytics. He is passionate about industry collaboration and creating impactful data-driven insights. Today, he will be speaking on navigating artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in AEC, the role of IoT, blockchain, and large language models. I was about to say with standing ovation. Can I say with standing ovation? Let's welcome Toby to teach us.
Kai,
Welcome, Toby.
this woman is always saying now. Like, man. So thank you so much, Ebzoa, for that introduction. But I think I'll just have to correct that. I'm not a graduate of Techstars. AfriBlocks is a graduate of Techstars Accelerator. Yeah. So I think basically good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are streaming. It's a privilege to be here, and I'll be talking on navigating AI and emerging technologies and AEC, the role of IoT, blockchain, and LLMs. Obviously, I can't say I'm a expert in all these fields that I've mentioned, right? But with my background, I feel I can like speak on them and just talk on how it applies in AEC. So I think firstly, I would say we can all see how AI is revolutionizing like most fields, right? Making people to either go out of the field or step up. I think it was Bishop or Theophilus that was talking about people just is it people changing fields, right? Because of the, I think it was Theophilus, yeah, just talking about engineers going into tech when they are done with their engineering certificate and they go into tech. And for me, that also shows that there is something that tech is doing right. There's something that it's attractive, it's calling people, it's showing that okay, this is the future. But I don't believe tech is meant to carry people out of their field. It's meant to just put people in a place where they can look at, okay, how do I then apply tech to what I'm doing? And that's why we're here to see how, because I believe that FZ is very passionate about AEC, and she doesn't plan to migrate fully, right? She plans to see how she can use what she's, because she's a data analyst, I'm aware of that. So she plans to use what she knows to then better her field, which is the knowledge, like using your knowledge base to then like look for application. So I think AEC basically already has applications of AI, right? You can see some companies actually have software programs that schedule workers to tasks. So like if you say, okay, I'm going to be available on this day, and I'll be able to go to the site, and you're on this level, probably mid-level in terms of maybe associate or something, they can assign you to a particular day because they know that okay, there will be a senior person that will be there with you. And this is without any human intervention. You just have to put the skill sets, put each person's profile, and then you can match it. And that can be done with AI. And even with my research, I've seen that a lot of companies already have that software programs. It's something that is being implemented into our daily activities, even not in AEC industry. Like most industries have apps that can match profiles together, and AI is the back end of that conversation. Talking about predictive analytics too, like we can see um like now if a one of the equipment that they're using at the construction site is about to spoil or it needs to be repaired, you can be able to know as fast as possible because of AI, because it's able to send a trigger notification. Okay, the battery is almost low. Oh, warning, almost going fuel will soon finish. This is like, so you can tell that there is that application of AI there too, because that is being able to predict the future, right? You don't have, based on the data that you have right now, you're able to say, okay, this, so if you reach this level, that will be too much. It will be more than what we expect. So that is predictive analytics. I think the last one, I think somebody mentioned it, which is some of the design tools that are being used by people in AEC industry, like something like AutoCAD. I said AutoCAD, Autodex. Yeah, so using it to build designs from existing templates, right? And that makes work faster. I think basically going to the need of AI in AEC, it is just because of knowing that the world is going to a place where we need to learn to do smart work, not hard work. It's something that needs to be emphasized. As much as everybody wants to feel like, I know, yeah, you're a very smart person. I know you've been doing a lot of things like with your brain and everything, but now you need to know that there is a technology that's coming, and you need to learn how to use that technology. As much as you don't want to feel you don't want to feel less of yourself, or because I've had conversations with people that they're just like, well, everybody that is using AI is just dumbo. This and this and me, I want to use my brain. But I'm telling you that the system we're entering into is going to outsmart you if you can't up your game and know how to use these things and know how these things apply to your daily work. So that moves me. That's just like talking about the need of AI, because we need it to do things faster, do it more accurately, and even more efficiently. Now, in terms of I think the three things, yeah. The first one is IoT. So, talking about like technologies that we can say are very important in AAC is IoT, which is the Internet of Things. And it just has to do with devices, machines, or even sensors that are connected to the internet and can share information. So let's give an example. You're on a construction site, and there's a damage, or there is the you are using one equipment, and just as you get to somewhere, you just notice that, oh, it's more like the machine just starts vibrating, or it sends a signal. It starts giving like an alarm. Oh, there's probably a stone under the machine you were using. That's a sensor, right? Because sometimes you may not even have gotten so close to it, but it just is able to trigger that sound. So that is Internet of Things being used there, and we can see that that already helps with the daily work of somebody working in AAC, because now you're able to track things. You're able to, even when it comes to a situation where a like a manager is trying to monitor the staffs on site, and you're able to use IoT, right, to track whether this person is wearing an helmet or not, this person is wearing their safety boots or not on the side, and if they are not, to send a trigger message to the manager. Let me move to the next one. So, talking about blockchain now, blockchain is just basically a technology that securely records like payments or contracts in a way that no one can tamper with. So, just private transactions, right, and securely. And when we are looking at a construction company, we know that like they are going to be managing contracts, they're going to be dealing with payment. And when we look at how it can now be applied, for most companies, blockchain is the best way to manage contracts. It's the best way to know that, okay, I'm having a contract with this company and we can trust the process, we can be transparent, we can ensure that, okay, oh, the supplier, the person that is giving us the goods or the materials we'll use, will get will only get paid once they deliver exact. So it just bonds two people together, two different people that have nothing to do together. But blockchain makes them to be able to have trust in each other because of transparency, because it's secure, because I'm comfortable knowing that, okay, every payment that I'm making with this person is it can be like we can tamper with this. We have already set particular rules that, okay, you must give me this before I will pay you. So blockchain can be applied there. Now in LLMs, which is what I love. So LLMs are advanced AI programs that can understand and process human language. They are used to generate text, answer questions, and even translate language. So when it comes to LLMs, different applications of LLMs, but one very popular one is chatbots, right? So you can use a chatbot to actually generate project updates, even answer questions from workers or even clients. So you can build a chatbot for your website or even an app that you're using in the AC industry, and you can use that to manage communication between the clients or even the workers, and that will help to just streamline the workflow, because now you don't have to always be a customer care calling every day. Oh yeah, we have delivered. There are particular questions that always come up. So FAQ, you already know you have created FAQ. These questions will always come up, even though there's like the FAQ section. You just want to have that chatbot in place that, okay, somebody will feel that live communication, right? And LLMs can help with that. Now, in terms of another topic that I just want to quickly divert to is sustainability. So we all know that SDGs and everything are just like that's what everybody's talking about, SDGs, like sustainable development goals and all. So how can we see AI, sustainability, and AEC together, like doing something? I think in terms of power, like power consumption and cost, we can see that AI is already even helping building. So with their ability of being able to control light, being able to program things, so you can program that once this is not in usage, turn it off. So you can save power. You can be able to program that every of your equipment are being managed efficiently to reduce costs and just save time. I think I'll just then move to challenges. I really hear challenges of using. So a lot of challenges have been spoken. It's still the same challenges. We don't have enough people that are trained to use these AI tools effectively in the construction industry, and that is the thing. Most people are not. I think it was even in data fellows, everybody is part of data fellows. We're having and this conversation even came up, this whole AEC conversation, where I was like, most people are not looking at their, when you learn something, you don't want to carry it back to your domain knowledge and try to see, oh, how can we apply? They just take it out there and any company can hire them because they are looking for money, right? But passion will drive you more than that. You learn how to do this, you learn data analytics, and you're thinking of, oh, why don't I create a dashboard that will be able to monitor everything we are doing on site at the construction site? But so we need more people that, because I don't, this shortage I even wrote here, I don't think I'm looking at it. I'm not saying I agree with it totally, because now I'm reasoning that we have too much data analysts out there. We have too much, even though for Nigeria, right? I would say we have more data analysts than probably AI engineers or machine learning engineers. We have more of them, but I would also say that the skill sets is growing, is right, it's becoming rampant, right? So we can't truly say it's the skill set. Is the number of people that are not applying these skill sets to this field because the application is what matters. You may have the skill, but you're not even applying it. It's like wisdom, right? Applied knowledge. So we need more people that will be able to, companies like industrial companies need to invest more money into. That's where Bishop was coming from. Also knowing that some people already have a traditional mindset of just doing things manual, just doing the hard work instead of doing smart work. So all these manufacturing companies, they need to know that technology is very important and they need to take that serious. They need to hire staffs that are good in technology, not just hire people that can carry brick, carry cement, do cement, or carry people that are advanced, that love to learn, people that are innovative, that can build a solution that is also futuristic, that will not just last now but last in times to come. Also, I think another issue is cost. So without Nigeria is everybody is looking for what is cheap. So you get Gavi, tell somebody, oh, you need to pay for this tool, you need to do this, you need to. They will be like, as long as my pocket cannot pay for it now, don't worry, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. It's not like as if I'm suffering. So we need to be able to look for how they can scale with affordable tools, like not just jumping into using the top tools, but like you can start from there tools that can be leveraged on. Like if you're thinking of using the OpenAI API to build solutions, you can use that. You can use that. You can use OpenAI API to build several solutions instead of actually like going to develop your own app. You can just use that, and or even go to what's the name of this place that I go to check what LLMs, Hugging Faces. So Hugging Faces has like several um LLMs that have already been built, and you can just copy the code from there. In terms of resistance to change, is still the traditional knowledge that that traditional mindset that people just have, not wanting to adapt to change, just being resistant. They feel like they know it all. They Some of them, even they feel like they don't know it all, but they're just stubborn. So we need more, let's say, more people that have presentation skills, right? Being able to show the benefits of this AI, like being able to pitch well, be able to pitch this thing well, tell them that okay, this is why you need it. So you're working in your company and you feel like, oh, there's a tool that we can use instead of actually drawing these blueprints, right? We can actually draw it using Auto Design or whatever these apps are called, and we can use it. You tell them about it, you pitch it. Oh, they're like, how much is subscription? You say $50. No, we can start with 25. We can start. So being able to negotiate, yeah, I think for people that are stubborn, you just need to catch them where they're like at their weak point, like being able to negotiate with them. So how, as a person working in the construction or engineering or even architecture industry, how do you stay up to trends? That's with AI trends. I would say continuous learning. So like taking courses, attending webinars like this, like you don't miss webinars like this, because especially this topic is not one that is being talked about everywhere. So you should know that it's like a gem, right? You don't find gold everywhere. So for webinars like this, you don't miss them because it's not everywhere that's being talked about. Oh, how you apply is everybody's just becoming AI engineer and they are just working with tech companies. What happens to the other industries? You get also collaborating with tech companies, right? Like trying to see how you can partner with tech companies to use the AI tools in your project. So there is a way you'll be able to create partnership, right? It will also benefit you like cost wise instead of even going to learn these things yourself. So you can even bring it a company that actually has this tool, has the resources to train also, and there'll be discounted exclusive discounts for a company like that. Also attending networking events, and yeah. So I think I also wrote it down, like the future of AI in AEC. Like we already have robots, the conversation of robots is already there. I think it was one musician that I follow called out music where he was in an hotel, and the person that came to deliver food, he called the reception, and it was a robot that brought food to him, and he was shocked. It's like, wow, we're already getting to that state. Like, yeah, literally. So we are having like robots that are being developed, and they are helping to simulate work just like human beings. So we also need to look at that in terms of futuristic terms. um AI is going to not literally replace humans, right, but assist with the work that human like we as human beings we do. I think drones too, like drones, we can use drones to inspect, like if let me give an example, maybe like somebody's injured, right? Or you're just trying to inspect a building just to check for, oh, is this building safe? You can actually install a particular program on those drones, and that will be able to check. And also AI just helping to keep teams together. So a lot of teamwork is in future times, a lot of teamwork will be done with AI, because now you're seeing even somewhere like ChatGPT, there's already a team, there's already a team subscription, and that's because people will be building with AI, and just to be able to keep the entire team in real time. So I think in conclusion, right, I would just say that AI is going to make everything that we do as probably architects, just in the AEC industry, is going to make everything that we do faster, safer, more efficient, because now you're automating things that you manually do. You're automating it. It's also being able to predict problems and even improving design. So the best way to go about all this conversation, too much talk, no do, right? The best way that we'll start this thing, start implementing it, is actually looking out for affordable tools that people in AEC can adapt. It's really looking at the size of the business, right? Okay, how much can they invest in it? Being able to pitch these things, like we can't keep talking about these things. Oh yeah, we are trying to do publicity, but how do we actually arrive at where we are seeing AEC industry using this technology as well? We need people that can pitch this thing well. We need cost optimized solution, affordable. Nigeria is not in the best place right now. Like as a country, we are growing, we are growing. So we need people that can be able to also like offer affordable tools, like this researching is a skill set. So just finding what actually works for each company. And yeah, I think that will make things easy. That will make everything that we do easy. Yes, I think that's much of it. I don't really have so much that I prepared, but that's what I have.
Thank
Everybody,
you so much, Toby. Please don't go. I have question, but I'll call on my next speaker if I ask you my question.
all right, no problem.
All right. So our next speaker is Ayomide Akin Rinade, a skilled structural engineer and the founder of Danstruct 18, a company specializing in digital construction solutions for the AEC industry. Danstrust provides professional development opportunities for both young and seasoned professionals. Ayomide has extensive experience in architectural design, BIM, and building services coordination, collaborating with international clients and renowned consulting firms. As an instructor, he equips university students with practical skills in AutoCAD, Revit, and other key softwares. He is a strong advocate for leveraging information within BIM to enhance efficiency in construction practices. He will be speaking to us today about the I in BIM, from data to decisions. Let's welcome Ayomide. Ayomide, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Esua, for that introduction. I'm super glad to be here. All right. Okay, so this has been a very interesting program so far. I've heard from our speakers before me, Toby. I've also heard from Theophilus as well, and you guys have been so great. I've quite gone used to being on programs like this and hearing from like minds as well. It's a privilege to be here, and I'll be standing for my company today as I give this very interesting topic, the I in BIM, from data to decisions. Okay, so I did prepare a short slide. I don't know if it's possible if I could share this. Let me see if that's possible. Okay, all right. So I'm sharing my screen now. I don't know if it's visible on the end. Just want to confirm in anybody can see my screen right now.
Your screen isn't showing yet.
It's okay. It's not showing. Okay, all right. So because of time, I would go ahead and start. Okay. All right. So once again, thank everybody here for having me. I'm glad to be on this program. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Beam, right? Okay, so I think my screen is showing right now. Okay, yeah. So my topic for today here is the I in Beam, from data to decisions. Now, many of us might be familiar with Beam. Some of us may be new to the term. Some of us may have been hearing it over and over again, which is actually the case nowadays. We know that Beam is useful. It's quite helpful in the industry, but many of us haven't actually tapped to exactly what it's actually used for or how it's different from the other traditional softwares that are being used. So I'll go ahead and I'll start with a brief introduction or a brief definition of what exactly Beam is. Okay. So Beam, I'm just going to take this definition I saw online. Beam, which stands for Building Information Modeling, is the process of involving the generation and management of digital representations of the physical and functional characteristics of buildings and other physical assets. So if you are going to be dealing with BEAM, you have to have some sort of knowledge about buildings or the natural built environments, be it bridges, skyscrapers, normal residential buildings. Now, BEAM basically works in a way where the building itself is represented in a physical model, right? And every single component of that building, be it the windows, the doors, the walls, information is being stored inside an individual piece of those models. And now, using those information, you can now go ahead and manage what they call is the structure rather of that particular model altogether, and it can help in decision making, which I'm going to be talking more in depth about in this meeting, rather in this program today. So I'm going to break it down first. So we're going to start talking about the B, right, which stands for building information modeling. Okay, now over here it says building is viewed in Beam as a comprehensive data rich, and I want everybody to emphasize on what I mean by data rich model, which represents both the physical and functional characteristics, right? I'll stop here so I'm reading the whole slide. So what this means is that Beam basically is not all about modeling, right? And I'm going to still emphasize more on this later on, because I've had quite in the past a lot of people ask me this question: what's actually the difference between Beam and your traditional CAD softwares, right? CAD softwares being like AutoCAD, and Beam be it like Revit, ArchiCAD or such, right? Where Beam is actually being useful is that aside from modeling the elements, you can store information inside it. So for instance, now you order a door from a manufacturer. You want to know where you could get that door, who the supplier is, the date of manufacture, when it was manufactured, and other information as it may be, right? So that building model, right? Every single thing inside it must be data rich, or else you're just modeling, right? Or you're just using your traditional CAD software or any other 3D modeling software. So that defines the B, which is a building in building information, more emphasis on later on. Okay. Now, I here stands for information, which is very critical rather, as the 3D geometry, right? Because the model is not just all about its visual representation. Okay. They contain rich data associated with every single element. So, be it for instance, now I'm a structural engineer by profession, and I want to know what material was used for the construction of a column on site, right? Now, if this particular building has a digital representation, right, maybe like an as-built model, or rather it was modeled before construction, right, I could go to the model and find out information about it if it was actually managed properly. So I could know what grade of concrete was used, I could as well also input information, data into that model as to what has happened to that concrete column over time. So yeah, that's basically when we start to deal with the information aspect of building information modeling. Now let's go over here to management. Now, BIM can't do everything for you. Like our speaker said earlier on, it's always going to have to use some sort of human input at the end of the day, right? You can't just leave the model to do everything for you. Although nowadays we have actually more intelligent features being implemented into BIM softwares or BIM tools, but it still needs that information, or rather that management system in place, which is most likely going to be human. So in this case here, it refers to the processes and strategies used to handle vast amounts of data, and you're coordinating between different disciplines. So for instance here, most likely in a building design, which normally does start from some sort of site developments, and then it gets to the architect's hands. He does the conceptual design. He gives the client a view of exactly what his building is actually meant to look like. And then you can't just go ahead and start building out of the architectural drawings. No, the building needs to have some sort of frame. That's where the structural engineer comes in place. Now, those professionals, the architects, the engineers, right, they need to sit down together and look for ways to actually join their various components from different disciplines to make sure that this building can be erected and is erected safely, right? Now, what BIM does is that these various professionals can come together on common ground and look at how their models will be simulated, right? And it will be modeled to actually show for plausible results, right? So in the process of that, they do some sort of clash detection, or they could say, okay, this goes there. You can't put a column in the middle of my sitting room. Nobody likes that. You get, so all of these decisions are being made during the management process. All right. Now, like I said, topic for today is going to talk more on the information aspects, right? So let's get into it. Okay. So the I in BIM, which is information. Now, there is some sort of philosophy when it comes to information, and this is exactly what separates those that actually know how to use BIM from those that probably just know what it is, right? And I'll just give you like a lot, just a what do you call it, some tips that I've learned over the years, and kind of like a secret as well. So when I jumped into BIM, for instance, I didn't exactly know how it was meant to be applied, how it's meant to be applied actually, basic design work, right? And it was only later that I realized how much application should integration of design, construction, and all project stakeholders. Now I'm going to stop here. So what this means is that professionals as well, even the clients, the managers, right? They all come together and look at this thing. So you don't necessarily have to be technical to know how to use a BIM, or rather the technical people are actually doing on the other hand, on the back end, right? Now, this philosophy continues to say that by creating a single source of truth, right, meaning that whatever is being designed, being modeled, and whatever information is stored into that model must be replicated in real life. And in the event that something does change, right, it needs to be updated into that digital representation, which is the BIM model. So by creating a single source of truth, not only improves accuracy and efficiency during construction, but also enhances long-term building performance and sustainability. Recent, especially very complicated buildings would require a BIM model for different professionals from different disciplines to actually work on. And even some of the older buildings, I read an article on the Sydney Opera House that it was only later where they actually created the digital representation as a BIM model for the Sydney Opera House to efficiently manage the building, right? They wanted to know where every single element was in the, so if they needed to, for instance, service the building, they wanted to correct some electrical issues, all of that, they could actually look towards that single source of truth, which is the beam model. Now, I'm also going to kind of give some examples as well. And if anybody has questions, so just leave it towards the question session, right? So this is just some more philosophy. We'll skip that for now, so I won't bore anybody. And now I'm going to start with this. How information is stored in a beam model. Now, when I started off using beam, I kind of complicated this for myself quite a lot, right? I thought that, okay, if you know how to model, right, an object, if you know how to place it in within a project, you already know how to use beam. Only for me to find out that using beam was actually quite more easier, or rather less complicated than I actually thought. So anybody that has actually used software such as Revit before, or any other beam tool, and as data associated with each building, such as walls, floors, beams, carries parametric properties which include dimensions, materials, and performance data. Right now, you may not necessarily be able to find this in maybe your CAD drawings as such. I do understand that some CAD drawings now you have some sort of parametric nature where you can actually change the size, the scale of objects based on some parametric placements, right? But in terms of adding information such as materials, all of that may actually be more complicated. In a beam environment, it's actually quite easy. I'm going to give this little illustration. So look at this over here, right? Now, this is information that is being extracted from a beam model, right? Over here, we can see the name of that particular chair, right? We know the manufacturer's name, right? We know the product SKU, which can actually be used for locating the product as it may be. We know the QR code if we need to go to the website and find out where it is. And we know the regions where we can find it. Now, this is what we call a data-rich file or a data-rich family in within a beam model. So if, for instance, you are like the markets, now you know the architects and interior designers are going to be using your service, right? You may want to create a beam model. Now, creating a beam model and sharing it to them to actually use as representation. Now I'm going to now talk about what beam has actually been, what's beam information, how information can be used in a beam model. Now, these are some points. Now, there are quite a lot actually, but I'll just go through these 5 points that I've been able to key down. Now, one of the most useful things you can use information in a beam model is clash detection, just like I mentioned earlier, right? Now, when the architectural, in fact, when the building services, which can be the MEP, right, they all come together. Many a times, the professional may not agree on the placement of some of their elements, right? Now, with the clash detection capabilities of beams using software such as Navisworks, you can actually place all these models together and see exactly where issues are going to arrive, because the persons or the professionals that end up paying the most for this are those that are in construction, right? Because if the designers don't agree, right, and the issues are not brought up during project meetings or collaborations or such like that, right, they're going to face it on site. It's inevitable, right? Now, it's also true that sometimes these things are inevitable and you can actually meet that mistake on site. Now, that's the importance of having a beam model. Now, if the issue does arrive, you can always revert back to the beam model and look at, okay, this is what we need to change. This is how we can actually change it around. Because when you're in construction, it may be too late or too expensive for you to actually make those changes. Now, you can also use information in the beam model for cost estimation, right? So beam is structured in a way where, for instance, every single thing has some sort of unit measurements. For instance, walls have lengths. You can also measure the volume, the area. So if you wanted to know exactly the area of the wall that needs to be painted, even the edges, the insets as such, actually get all those information from the beam model. You can also as well use it to calculate based on rates that you can also input in within the beam model as well. Now you could also use information in a BIM model to do construction scheduling. Now this is something that is not heavily adopted, especially in this part of the world. You can use it, for instance, for phasing, right? You can use it for phasing. If, for instance, you've started the construction, right? Everything is going to be new, right? Now, as soon as you start constructing some things, such as the walls, the structural columns, the girders, the beams, the floor slab, you can actually update that information in your BIM model. So it's giving you an idea of exactly what is left and what needs to be done, which will further improve the management aspects of working, or rather utilizing a BIM model. You can also as well use it as well to store or rather create some sort of building assets, for instance. All of this can actually be stored in the building model, so inventories as all of that. Now you can also as well use information in the building model for energy analysis as well. You may want to know the heating requirements of your room. All of this can be done if it is actually modeled and the information is given. So, for instance, walls have their own thermal resistance. Now, if you give the right thermal resistance in the building model, you can actually use some other tools, software such as Revit have the capabilities to do like a thermal analysis or a space analysis of a particular room based on the thermal resistance or observance of various elements that you can find in a space, in a defined space. So using information correctly can actually allow you to do all of these things in within the same BIM environment, instead of you relying on external sources, meaning you have to go to another software, start modeling it again, and as that's me actually have been in the past. Now let's go ahead and I'll now talk about some key examples. Okay, key examples of how information can be used to now make decisions. Right now, this one I've already given an example earlier on, right? So for architects, for instance, you may want to do some sort of space analysis, right? When you sit down with the clients, you want to know exactly how much space the person needs, what are his requirements for space, ventilation and all of that, and you can actually use the information in a BIM model to make those decisions. Another example as well is that you can use it to do real-time costing. Now, for instance, my own experience, I've had to sit down with clients, and most of the time, the designer is not always going to be responsible for doing the costing. Like, he may give it to the quantity surveyor, right? Now, the quantity surveyor may not necessarily always have to go ahead and start doing the unit measurements one by one by one. If he has a data-rich BIM model, he can go ahead, for instance, and impute the rates, and he can easily get the real-time costing for each of the elements. Now, if this is only possible if the model, the data imputed into the BIM model is done correctly, right? Meaning that you don't have to go through the process of doing this on spreadsheets as it might have been done commonly, right? This is actually one of the biggest benefits of having a BIM model. It reduces construction waste. Like I mentioned earlier on, it's always towards the construction phase that they start to meet some of the things that were neglected during the design or even towards planning. Right now, for instance, if let's say you gave your work to a quantity surveyor, and then he just kind of did an estimate based on his experience that to construct this building is going to give about, let's say, five tonnage of structural rebar, right? But if you have a data rich model, and then the results come back and give you, let's say, 7, right? Now this is accurately done, which may not be perfectly done if it were done by a human, rather if we were estimated by a human being in that case. Now obviously you have to give or take some waste, right? But 2 tonnage is quite a lot when you are saving in construction. Or I think I mentioned this earlier, you can do system analysis, you can define spaces, you can define requirements, right? Heating requirements based on HVAC, that's heating, ventilation, air conditioning requirements. And you can do some sort of analysis, for instance. So all of this is also possible in a data-rich BIM model. This is something I mentioned earlier on as well. So you can use it for project spacing. So this picture, I don't know if everybody can see it. So in this picture, for instance, you can see here the elements that are actually shaded, the patterns are shaded, some sort of pink are those that have been constructed. This can be very useful for project managers who wants to have an oversight of what exactly has been done on site. If you're someone like me that dreads going to the site every day, you want to get your updates in real time. So you can have a data rich BIM model which enables you to see exactly what has in time as well. You also help you to make decisions going forward. All right. So that's more or less kind of like a conclusion on the I in BIM. Now, this is actually quite an extensive topic, but I'm just going to conclude with this remark, which says that information is key for a fully optimized BIM workflow, right? Without information, you're basically just doing 3D modeling or 2D modeling, depending on your workflow, right? Information and management as well is exactly what makes BIM BIM, right? Yeah. So that's just my contribution on this topic, which is the I in BIM, going from data to decisions. So thank you very much, and I'm really happy to give this presentation again.
Thank you very much, Ayomide. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your session. Okay. Um. So my question, Mr. Toby said that AI is not taking our job, and I was in an event I think 2 Saturdays ago, and that was also one of the discussion. Now, a lot of people know that AI won't take our job. A lot of people, I believe, know that it's not possible, but there's still this human fear that makes them scared. Like you said, the person said people that use AI are dumb. I use AI for my work. I'm not dumb. I still think because sometimes this thing will give me wrong answer and I'll tell you this is not my perspective. And I'm like, oh sorry, let me come from your perspective. Do you understand? So I believe you also have to train your AI. People are learning prompt engineering. So how do you actually like help people who have that, would I call it inferiority complex to AI now? Because a lot of people still choose to believe that AI will take their job. So Toby.
Okay, like, so how do you eradicate the fear of AI taking? I think basically you just step up your game, right? You just actually do do research on what exactly AI can do that you feel you can't do. Is it like in terms of maybe a program now like that you're running, and scripting, let me use scripting for example. So I'm trying to script from a particular website, and they have probably developed an AI that can do that. I do that with Beautiful Soup on Python, but there's probably even without AI, there's API that you can use. If I want to leverage my knowledge on Beautiful Soup and say, okay, how can I actually use what I know better with AI, right? Write a more sophisticated script that probably would be able to achieve this faster instead of writing something longer. That's me actually doing research with AI and seeing, okay, the best optimized solution for what I'm trying to achieve. So I think AI particularly won't take people's jobs, but it's just going to be like relearning, right? Relearning what you know in a way of how you and AI can work together to do a better work, to make things faster, to achieve at to do smart work literally. Because yeah, time is, it's just like an article that I was reading this week, right? Like talking about perfectionism, like people that try to be perfect whatever they are doing. They say most perfect people, they never get things done fast because they keep rechecking. So you need to know how to get things done faster, because at the end of the day, like, there's a project and there's a deadline and there are results to be met. So how do you then balance that if you're trying to use manual process, right, when there's already AI to actually ensure that this can be faster? So you then work with AI and say, okay, let's see how we can achieve this faster. So for me, I would say getting away from the fear. The fear is coming because you don't know, you like lack of knowledge. So just research, like research. You can fear something once you know something, right? You know the ins and out of it. You can know that okay, this is where I'm lagging. This is what I need to do. This is where I need to step on my game, right? I need to do more research on this. I know how I can do this better.
All right, for better words, we need to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. We should stop being comfortable, believing that AI is going to take our jobs. All right, our next speaker is our cyber lawyer. When I invited her, she said, "What? I'm a lawyer." Oh, I said, "I know." She's an astute young lawyer specializing in cybersecurity, risk management, and compliance with data privacy. She advises organizations on creating robust risk management frameworks and regulatory compliance in various aspects of information communication technology. As a skilled dispute resolution lawyer at Paul Uzoro and Co., a leading commercial law firm in Nigeria, Oladayo has successfully represented her clients at the High Court and the Court of Appeal in several high-profile commercial cases. Beyond her legal practice, Oladayo is deeply committed to empowering the next generation of lawyers. She actively mentors aspiring legal professionals through webinars and targeted programs, aiming to guide 1,000 law students towards distinctive and impactful career paths. As a prominent LinkedIn content creator, Oladayo shares insights on cybersecurity, risk management, and data privacy, while also inspiring young professionals through her engaging content. She's a dedicated member of several professional associations, some of which include the Nigeria Bar Association, the Nigerian Bar Association Women Forum, Information Systems Audit and Control Association, International Information System Security Certification Consortium. She is a devout Christian and family oriented individual who enjoys listening to music, reading, watching movies, and networking in her spare time. Today, she'll be talking to us about cybersecurity and data privacy in digital construction. Join me as I welcome Oladayo Akinmoko.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for that bio. Thank you for reading it out. I was enjoying it. I was on I wrote it, I was enjoying the way you were reading it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I want to say well done to the previous speakers. You held the justice to the work. And I'm feeling like I'm already in the AEC industry. Thank you so much, everyone. You've done well. All right, so without further ado, let's just go straight into what I have to share with us. Like I told her, I'm a lawyer. What am I doing in AEC webinar? All right, so I'll be talking on cybersecurity and data privacy in digital construction. And I've heard a lot from the actual speakers in the industry about how how AEC is trying to adopt or is adopting and tilting towards technology, even though it's kind of challenging in Nigeria. But this poses the need for us to talk about cybersecurity and data privacy, because there is nowhere technology is mentioned that these issues will not arise. Issues as to cybersecurity, issues as to data privacy, it has to be spoken about. So for better understanding, I'll just do a little bit of definition, give a little bit of definition to what cybersecurity is and data privacy. So basically, cybersecurity is the protection of digital information, devices, and networks from breaches, attacks, and theft. So when we talk about cybersecurity, although we have information security outside the internet, but when it comes to cybersecurity, because it involves the internet, it has to be secured. And we're talking about something digital, information, devices, networks. And what are you protecting this devices from? What are we protecting this data or information from? We are protecting them from breaches, from attacks and theft. We've seen several incidents of cyber attacks, not only in AEC industry, even in other industries. So I don't think there is any industry that is not experiencing cyber attacks, no matter how advanced they are when it comes to cybersecurity. They still experience cyber attacks. Now, when it comes to data privacy, we're talking about protecting personal data. So why cybersecurity focuses on general assets when it comes to the internet space? Data privacy focuses on protecting personal data of data subjects. So it has broken the chain down to data. Now, whose data is data privacy concerned about? The data of data subjects. And who are these data subjects? Data subjects are individuals whose personal information is being processed. So this individual can be a natural person like you and I. They can be a juristic person. They can be a corporate body. So as long as their data is being processed, is being collected, is being used, is being processed, they are all data subjects. And we have laws and regulations guiding the use, the collection of data in Nigeria and also in the world at large. Now, why is data privacy important? It is important because the right of data subject has to be protected from unauthorized collection, unauthorized use, unauthorized disclosure, modification or deletion. Now, why do we need to now talk about cybersecurity in AEC? Just like the previous speakers have been saying, I really enjoyed the fact that the AEC industry is integrating technology into their work, because it's not supposed to be all about bricks and cement and whatever they use. Now, we can now see now that AEC companies are now integrating technology, using digital tools and technologies to improve their entire lifestyle of construction projects. Now, it is now necessary to address cybersecurity in AEC, data privacy in AEC. Now, when it comes to AEC, what major data do we think companies like in the AEC industry would be using? Of course, they interface with different data. When it comes to their project-related data, they collect data as to the size of whatever they want to do, their building. They collect data as to the location. They collect data as to the budget. Those are data. And when it comes to the client and the client involved, we have the contact information of client. All these are data. And right now, people, I believe, would always hear something like data is the new oil. Actually, it is the new oil, because we can see companies making millions from people's data. So data is actually the new oil. And it is very important that even as companies are trying to integrate technology to make life easy, to make work easy, is to ensure that the right of clients or customers that are using their services are not being breached. Their data are protected. They can be rest assured that nothing is wrong with their data. Nobody is coming to steal their data. So cybersecurity in AEC would entail the protection of digital information, systems, infrastructure-related designs, constructions and operations. You're protecting this assets. You're protecting this information from unauthorized access, from theft, from damage, or from disruptions. Now, we have various ways where cyber attacks can come in. We have ransomware. They can just, get access into your system, take over your system, and they'll be asking you to pay ransom to retrieve or recover your system. It's a really big blow on companies, and we have seen big companies, falling into this trap, falling victims of cyber attacks. Now, from research, I got to know that there is this company, Vesuvius. They experienced the cyber attack last year in February 2023. And this cyber attack came in form of an unauthorized access into their system. So as big as this company is, they still experience cyber attack. These companies have measures, these companies have incident response plan, but they still experience cyber attacks. So this means that, it is very important that we actually pay attention to this side of the discussion, because if you're talking about technology in AEC, we need to also mention we need to also give credence to the fact that whatever affairs is being run on this in this technology has to be protected. They have to be protected. So it is very important that we consider the subject of cybersecurity. Now, when it comes to data privacy, like I already mentioned, that it broke it down to what we call personal information. Now, in AEC, we're talking about the protection of information relating to building projects. We're talking about protection of information relating to clients, protection of information relating to stakeholders. Now, this is very important. For example, in 2023, from research, it was said that Morgan Advanced Material, that is a British engineering company, experienced a data security incident in January 2023. Some people are of the opinion that it was a ransomware, but whatever security incident it might be, there was actually a breach and there was an authorized access into their system. So they had to start, calling in experts to start working on what to do. They had to quickly switch into their incident response to make sure that the attackers do not penetrate so much and spoil things. So they were able to curtail this. They were able to curtail this attack in good time. Why? They already have an effective cybersecurity plan in place. So it is very important that companies, companies in the AEC industry also understand this. Even in Nigeria, as we are talking about how challenging it is for people to adopt technology. We spoke about how it is in the schools, but whether or not it is rampant now in Nigeria, we need to still talk about the security of these technologies, the security of our information, the security of our assets, including intellectual property. I'm very sure that architects, engineers, they do a lot with intellectual property, because whatever you people are building, whatever you people are coming up with, the design, they are all from your head. They are all your from your intellect. So all these things need to be protected. And how do we protect or ensure that this protection is done and carried out? That is what we need to now look at. I was saying earlier on that we have some data or information peculiar to AEC industry. I mean, when it comes to their project-related data, they get data as to contact of clients, the name, the email, the phone number, the address. They get data related to the project, the location, the type, the size, even the budget, down to the budget of a project. And they can also interface with financial information. When we talk about financial information, we have payment information when it comes to credit card, bank accounts, the billing and invoices. All these are data that need to be protected. Now, there are certain regulations that actually guide the effectiveness of cybersecurity and data privacy in every industry, including AEC. So one of the standards, we have so many of them. We have ISO 27001 that concerns itself with information security management system. It gives industry understanding of how they can have effective information security management system in their companies. Now, this particular standard is actually not industry specific. It's such that any industry, any company of any size can adopt and tailor according to their use. We have the PCI DSS. That one is related to payments, to card payment. We have even ISO 27002. It's something like a further guideline of how ISO 27001, which relates to having an effective information security management system is. So 27002 helps us to tailor and be able to effectively execute whatever ISO 27001 has said. Furthermore, we have other regulations, just like the Nigerian Data Protection Act, which concerns itself with the protection of personal information of data subjects in Nigeria. So these and many more are the regulations that we can see that actually speaks to cybersecurity and data privacy in Nigeria, or as it relates to AEC industry. Now, how can we effectively ensure that cybersecurity is seen? Effective cybersecurity plan is seen in our industry or in the company that we find ourselves. The first thing we need to do when it comes to cybersecurity, and according to all these guidelines, is to make sure to conduct regular risk assessment. It is very important because when it comes to risk, every organization, every industry has a particular risk they are prone to. They have risks they are prone to. So in AEC industry, in the companies, companies that are involved in AEC projects, they have to conduct risk assessment. What are those things that you feel would pose risk to your clients, will pose risk to the organization? Because the issue of cybersecurity does not only speak to clients, it also speaks to the reputation of a company. When a company is known for persistent cyber attacks, customers, clients would lose their trust and confidence in such company. Because automatically you can't trust this company with your data. You can't trust them with your information. Imagine today you heard that, oh, this TT company has experienced a cybersecurity attack. People's data have been exposed. Over 10,000 customers have their data exposed. And the next day or the following month, there's another thing again. Oh, they've hacked into their account, they've hacked into their system, they can't carry out activity like they should. All these things would definitely speak to the mindset of customers, and they would just lose trust and confidence in such company. And aside from that, it will even bring the attention of regulators to such company, because today it is you, next month it is you. So regulators will definitely want to know what is going on in that company. Why is all these things happening to you? Is it that you don't have effective plans or security in place? So it will also bring the attention of regulators to that company. And it is not something good or worthy of a company that wants to grow or that wants to be known. Now, so it is important that a risk assessment is conducted regularly. If you're going to be carrying out a project, why don't you look at the possible risk that is going to occur? Why don't you look at, okay, how are we going to respond to this particular risk if it occurs? How are we going to make sure that this risk does not go beyond board and our customers are not affected? Now, another thing to consider is making sure that there is an incident response plan. One thing I appreciate about the two companies that I mentioned, Morgan Advanced Material, is because they already have an incident response plan in place. So they were able to swing into action when they detected the breach. So it is important that companies of whatever sort in whatever industry should have an incident response plan. The truth is, no company can say they are totally free from cyber attacks, because cyber criminals, they grow daily. They get new information daily. They know how to do new things. They know how to do things anew daily. So you can't say, oh, my company has a high standard security strategy and plan in place. We can never be attacked. No, that's not true. Companies that have such have been attacked. So that's why it is necessary for you to have an incident response plan, and even go forward to have an incident response team. That is the team that will carry out the plan that's been made. Another thing that is important to help AEC companies prevent cybersecurity breaches is also implementing secure network protocols. That is, there has to be some security levels, some security interface that are in place to even stop these things from happening. You don't need to wait till you are being attacked before you have things in place. So it is better for them to say, oh, they had this thing in place, but these cyber criminals were able to bypass it, than to say that they don't have any security, they don't have any security protocol in place. That is not good enough. So all these things have to be implemented. And for some people that are tech savvy, you can do that and implement it in your company. But if you need the expertise of people in the field, you get them. Let them implement a secure network protocol for you. The next thing is to enforce secure access control. What do I mean by access control? There has to be people that are entitled to or authorized to access particular place or particular information at a point in time. Not all the staff in a company should be entitled to knowing or having access to all the data of the staff in the company. That's automatically, that is the work of, let's say, the HR. Probably there's an HR within a company. Why should an ordinary staff know or have access to all the data of staff or clients of a company? So there has to be measure put in place to cut excesses. That is, people don't get access to what they don't need, as long as it is not going to help them in executing their own responsibility. They don't need access to such information. And it's also important for companies to also conduct regular updates of software and systems, because the reason iPhone will tell you that they've updated their iOS, you should go and they've done something in their iOS, you should go and update your iOS, is because there is something they've done to make sure that the lack in one is covered up and nobody can penetrate such deficiency. So it is important that there is update of software conducted regularly. And another thing, because it is said that 60 to 75% of cyber attacks that happen come from human error. That is, we have people working in a company. So it is important that these people are also aware. They are also in the know when it comes to cybersecurity. So how do you ensure this? You should also adopt regular training of staff. As an individual, also train yourself. You're working in the AEC industry, train yourself, expose yourself to knowledge, expose yourself. Toby was saying that expose yourself to knowledge. Don't just sit down in a place and expect knowledge to come to you. Attend webinars, attend conferences, read articles to help yourself advance in all these things. Now, when it comes to data privacy, what are the measures that you need to put in place? Because in Nigeria, we have the NDPA, that is the Nigerian Data Protection Act, and the NDPR, the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. All these laws are enacted to protect personal information of data subjects, and they have principles put in place to ensure this. That is, we have principles that govern how data is collected. We have principles that govern how it is being processed. We have right of data subject. Now, I will just pick few things to discuss under this particular subhead. When it comes to data privacy, how you can ensure data privacy is effective in your company or in the industry you find yourself, you should understand the fact that there are data that you don't need. Collect only necessary data. Those are one of the measures. They call that thing data minimization. Why do you need information about somebody's health when you are talking about this project? So you have to collect only necessary data. I wonder why some people will tell you to put your mother's maiden name while filling an information. I used to wonder, because okay, if I'm trying to open an account with you, why do you need to be asking me my mother's maiden name? So there are some data that are not necessary for the particular purpose you want to use it for. So only collect data that are necessary. In this particular category, it is even said that you can't collect data for a future use. You can't say, oh, because I'm thinking I might want to use this data for that in the next 5 months, I need to collect it. No. The principle of data minimization says you only collect the data necessary for the purpose you are using it at that particular point in time. So we need to understand this even as we, conduct or execute our project, our designs, and all that. Another thing is to obtain consent. I know we work with clients and you want to, you want other people outside there to know that you're actually doing a good job. So company A cannot say, because we have this client's particular picture or this client's particular testimony, without obtaining the necessary consent from the client, you're now going to put it on your Instagram or your LinkedIn page that, oh, we worked with this particular client and they did this, they were able to achieve that. The client can sue your company for that. Did you get the person's the person's consent before you upload that person's picture or person's testimonial for commercial purpose? No. So you need to obtain consent as at when due, especially when it comes to the usage of data. Another thing is you have to be transparent. If you're collecting data as a company, as a AEC company, if the customer is asking you, why is this data necessary? Tell them, this is why we need this data. This is what your data will be used for. That's why we have policies like data protection policy. Give them to read it. Let them read it. Okay, this is why we collect this data. This is what it is used for. Because when issues arise and you are being probed or the company is being probed, when regulators see all these measures, they know that you've actually done something. Also, data has to be secured. What are the things that you're doing to secure all this data that you're collecting? Are you using encryption? Are you using multi-factor authentication? Make sure that there are systems in place to ensure the security of the data. As a matter of fact, you can go extra mile telling your clients, this is how your data is being secured. This is how your data is being stored. And in the event that there is a breach, just like I said, we can't avoid it totally. In the event that there is a breach, notify the necessary people, notify the clients if they are concerned, notify the regulators if need be. So all these things are measures that we put in place to ensure that there is effective cybersecurity practice and data practice, even in the AEC company. Like I said, I'm already concluding. Like I said, there is no industry as long as you've introduced or integrated technology in your work or in your system. There is no industry that does not need to talk about cybersecurity and data privacy. It's a topic that would always be spoken about as long as technology is involved. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. You took us, it took me away. Like, I started believing that I was a lawyer. Like, she was already advocating for people that we don't tell them what we use their data for. But I believe we will do that from now on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really, see, now you've learned a lot about AEC, so you can go and join our sector and do lawyer for us. What do you think? All right. Our next speaker, he also asked the same question. That's why I put both of them together. He also asked what is he doing here that is not in AEC. He's a software engineer at Sematext with a solid background in observability. He's a first-class honors student in mechanical engineering, which is AEC, from Landmark University, and he's a former outreach intern with Open Telemetry. He has made significant contributions, including developing Zerolog Bridge to integrate Open Telemetry with Zerolog package. In just 10 months, he has published numerous articles on Zignog and contributed to AWS in plain English. Eremosele is a man of faith. I can attest to that 100%, and a devoted follower of the Holy Spirit. He'll be talking to us today on bridging the gap, observability and innovation in the intersection of AEC and technology. As someone who migrated, he's the best person to help us. Ramasele, thank you very much. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for the privilege. And I want to say, wow, like I've learned so much today than I learned in my 5 years of studying mechanical engineering. Well, well done to the speakers, man. So much value offered here. So thank you. I'm sharing my screen right now. I have slides to share. So I'll be sharing my screen, and please tell me when you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Hello, Evziba, can you see my screen?
Your screen is showing now.
Okay, just to confirm, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. So hello everyone. So like Evziba said, I am Eremosela Higbe, and today I'll be talking on observability and innovation in the intersection of AEC and technology. So why should you so what we'll be looking at today, this is the table of contents. We're looking at what is observability, what is it, why does it matter, what are some challenges that are faced in the industry right now, and how can observability assist or help in that industry. And then finally, how do I implement observability in the industry? Okay, so why should you listen to me? So, like I said, I finished the first class from Lamarck University, studied mechanical engineering. So I was a mechanical engineer before I ran to tech. So yeah, and then I didn't add this here, but I also worked as a condition-based monitoring engineer at Lafarge during my internship as a mechanical engineer. So I'll say I've seen observability from an engineering point of view, and then I'm seeing it now from a software engineering point of view. So I'm basically serving as that bridge to see when we can both come together, because there are a lot of things that I've seen done in software engineering that we can just literally copy and paste in our industry, that's the AEC industry, and it will work excellently well. So I currently work as a software engineer at Sematex. And what is Sematex? So Sematex is, in summary, it's an observability vendor, and we'll learn more about that later on in the presentation. Okay, so big question. What is observability? You probably heard about this. You may have not heard about this, but in some kind of way, whether directly or indirectly, everyone here has probably worked with observability. Toby said something about how with AI you can easily um, predict the future. You can say, okay, you can set up your AI tool, your AI tooling or something, and then you can now know, you can easily say, okay, this is what's going to happen to this machine at this particular time. So now what observability helps you to do is to make use of that data. So observability is the ability to understand the internal state of a system. What is going on with this system by examining its output? When I say output, what do I mean? Metrics, traces, and logs. So you probably see some of you have worked with Grafana, and some tech guys have worked with Grafana, but minus Grafana, you have some worked with some kind of dashboard that is showing you the what is going on with the machine that is on the field. So that's what observability helps you to do. So in the AC industry, observability can provide real-time insights into processes, equipment, and system performance. So with this, you can ensure that projects are staying on track and then they are within budget. So let's go deep. Why does this matter? When Evziba met me, I was like, okay, hi Roma. I was like, anyway, I'm a software engineer. What business does observability really have in the AEC industry? But when I now started doing my research, and I realized that wow, there really is no difference. There really is no difference. So why does observability matter to you as a professional in that industry? First of all, observability helps to optimize construction timelines. So before now, construction projects usually experience delays due to unpredictable factors that you really don't have control over, like weather, maybe bad weather, equipment breakdowns, or probably inefficiencies in material supply chains. So with observability, you easily monitor IoT sensors, and equipment telemetry. So okay, let me go back a bit. So to really be able to observe what's going on in your system, you have to instrument your system in such a way that you can generate those signals. So that's the essence of the IoT sensors and telemetry. So telemetry basically is able to record the what is going on within your system at that time. So you can monitor those IoT sensors, and then with that you can track key performance metrics. So let's assume now imagine a large crane, on building sites, and the observability tools that you put in, let's say the IoT sensors. You're sitting down in your office, you don't have to be there, you're sitting down in your office, and then you can see from the sensors that there's a spike. There's a spike in probably the vibration. You can see that, oh, what's causing that spike? You can easily begin to make decisions based on what you see. Compared to the machine is already vibrating. Imagine a machine that's not that there's nothing has been set up, no sensors on the machine. So the machine is just vibrating, and the human beings can feel it, but they don't understand what's going on. The machine vibrates, and before you know, everything fails. And then let's assume using a cement industry, for example, that whole line is down because that machine failed. Imagine if that machine is a critical machine. So you can easily reduce the time that it will take if you can set up good observability systems for your machines. So then secondly, it prevents equipment failures and reduces downtime. Basically what I said, but now imagine, so normally heavy machinery failures or malfunctions happen during construction. Something can happen, a machine can break, a component of a machine can fail. And when the machine fails, I think one of the biggest issues when equipment fail is knowing where the failure is coming from. Yeah, and I think coming to software engineering is the same thing. When your application fails, the biggest issue, you can't just sit down and start trying to fish out where the problem is. So when you have good observability systems in place, you can easily say, okay, this is the component that failed. Oh, there's something wrong with the shaft. Oh, I can see that the before the failure, there were some unusual readings that was coming from this particular component. Okay, can we check that component? And then with that information, you can easily probably change that component, and then man, everything is solved. Or you can even before the component fails, you've already set up your observability system, and then you're probably in your office, you're in your home, and then you're looking at you're monitoring what's going on with your equipment, and then you begin to notice that, oh, there's an alert or an alert, and you can set alerts, by thresholds that, oh, once the vibration passes this particular frequency, send me an alert. And you see that, oh, this component A of my machine is currently the vibration is currently above 50 hertz. And if this continues for this period of time, there's going to be a problem. And this machine is a critical machine. So what can we do to immediately solve it? So you can instantly take the right decisions, make the right decisions, compared to running around trying to say, oh, is it component A, is it component B, try and error, and then time is going and all that. So and then finally, it enhances safety and risk. Sorry, enhancing safety and risk management. So usually construction sites are very high risk environments. Um, Plants are very, very high risk environments. I remember when working at Lafarge, then there were some places that if you had to go to, like you had to dress in a particular way, like you had to probably wear some ear, I forgot what to call those things, ear, ear puffs. I've forgotten those things, earbuds, because of how loud the sound can be. So if you have some sensors in those kind of environments that can easily tell, okay, this right now the sound frequency from this place is above the standard for human hearing. And if as an engineer you come in without this equipment, it's going to be a problem. So if you set those sensors around your environment, you're going to generally make things safer for the people that you're working with, even when it comes to thermal radiation or all those kind of things. So basically, observability just gives you a way to understand what's going on inside of your system through the outputs that you can see. And like I said before, those outputs, those signals that are generated, you have to instrument them. How do you instrument them? You can either add IoT sensors to your not application, to your machines. I'm sure there are some observability components that are tailored specific to some certain machines. So that's why it matters. So some common challenges that are AEC, some common challenges in the AEC industry. I hope I'm not going too fast. Also, common challenges in the AEC industry, like everyone has been saying, is a very big problem with communication. Like each team is running on their own. There's really no, you really hardly find any centralized place or centralized pool where everybody's coming together to speak. And those kind of meetings happen once in a blue moon. Like I remember then, we only had in Lafarge, we only had meetings like for with the whole team like once in a month. So we thought when that meeting is not holding, every individual team is doing their own thing. Like I remember there was a time that we meant to work on a machine. We went to take some readings from the machine, and apparently that machine was undergoing lubrication. So we were not informed. So there were some clashes. So they fragmented project data. The data in AC projects are usually, you know, they're usually spread across different department systems, and this fragmentation usually leads to inconsistent information flow. So it's hard to coordinate because of how data everyone has their own and is running with their own thing. So another second major challenge in the AC industry is manual processes. Anything that is done by a human, there will be some drama with it. I'll be sharing life experiences. So there's some in the cement industry, there's something called the bucket elevators that are meant to send um, cement from a very high height. I've forgotten the whole process, but I remember there's something called bucket elevators, and what then we had a schedule that we check. There were like hundreds of bucket elevators. So we had a schedule that, oh, we'll check like 10 on Monday, check 10 on Tuesday, something like that. So when we check this part, let's say bucket elevator A on Monday, we will not check it again till probably the next cycle. Now, the problem with that is that what if as the next day that we don't check that bucket elevator, um, the bucket elevator starts failing? There's really no way. And I think I'm already explaining lack of real-time insights. So I think this inefficiencies and manual processes and lack of real-time insights, they go together. So you can't really know in real time what is going on with your machine. We had to manually walk up, to where the machine is. You have to manually go physically to where the machine is or located. And sometimes these locations can be really, really far and really, really stressful. So now, okay, take the readings from the equipment. But yeah, and this usually led to a lot of problems because most times machines will first fail. They will now try to start solving, or let's say if we are lucky, the day that we go to get the readings from the equipment is when we'll start seeing those errors. So these are the challenges that are commonly faced right now. There are a lot of inefficiencies. Sometimes I was an intern. There was a time that my boss told me I should go and take some readings, and I did not place the probe well, and because of that, I took bad readings. And everyone thought that, oh, the equipment was bad, and people started trying to get processes to solve the equipment, only to go and realize that, oh, I didn't just put the probe well. So there's a lot of drama. So these are the challenges that are currently facing the AEC industry. And then the final one is the lack of real-time insight. You can't, like, what if 3 a.m.? Because if you work in plants, you see that production goes on 24/7. So it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and then something, let's say the kiln fails. The kiln, that's something that they used to cook the cement, something like that. So the kiln fails. And you can't really know that you can't even know why the kiln failed. You just wake up, the boss, your engineering line manager wakes you up, bro, kiln has failed, rush down now. You're coming, with your sleepy eye. You don't even know where to start from. You don't even know what part of the kiln failed. You don't even know why it failed. So you can't really tell exactly what's going on with the kiln. These are the challenges that are currently facing the AEC industry. So now, what is the role of observability? How can observability come to help? Number one, and I think the most important thing, real-time monitoring and insights. So you can easily sit down from wherever you are in the world, because these days things are becoming more global. I don't need to be presently there. I think before I left Lafarge, we were planning on getting some really expensive IoT sensors that would, quote unquote, take our job. Not take our job, but that will help us. So we don't need to be going every day, to go into the different machines, to get the readings from those machines. So you can sit down from wherever you are, probably have a dashboard on, and you can see what everything that's going on with your equipment. You can see where the failures are coming from. You can see where there are currently issues undergoing. Because before an equipment fails, it will go through a whole phase of giving warnings and errors. So you can easily see that, and you can begin to take prompt actions about that. And then secondly, predictive maintenance. So no one, if you've worked in a plant, you would understand and you will know that this is the best thing. When a very important equipment fails and is stopping production, the pressure can be so much. I remember there was a time where the ball, I've forgotten the name of that thing, so ball, it's not something that usually they used to grind cement, and it failed. I think was it the crusher? Yeah, the crusher, and it failed. And man, that week was really not nice. That week was not nice. There was a lot of people were calling from outside the country. All of guys were down on our neck that we had to solve it. I think my boss had to spend 3 days, and he didn't go home for 3 days because the equipment had to be up. So, and if there was some kind of way to easily see, oh, this part of this component of the machine is currently getting faulty, or we can see that the readings from this component is not so good. Can we look into it? That won't have happened, And then I think then they had to buy a new component entirely, and that was very very costly. So with observability in your systems, you can reduce the cost of breakdowns, and you can easily use the data that you get to optimize schedules for machinery usage. So let's assume that, okay, we're noticing that in machine one, or let's say in crusher, let's say there are 5 crushers, and we're seeing that in crusher one and crusher two, for the past 3 days, there's this strange spike that happens every time the cement is going through it. We can easily now send people, okay, can we go and see, what is actually going on in the crusher? And then we'll just focus our energy on crusher one and crusher two. We don't need to be thinking about crusher three to five, because from the readings we can see that crusher three to five are working optimum, at an optimum level. So, with observability, you can now know where to narrow your focus on, where to narrow your resource to. So yeah, so this is the role of observability in the AEC industry. Okay. And then so I think the big question, how? We can all sit down here, we can all talk, but I think I prefer actions to theory. So I knew that this slide will not be complete if I do not speak on how you can implement all. Let's say you're currently a professional, you're working with a company, you're working with a plant, you're working with an engineering firm or a construction firm or an architectural firm. How can you begin your own observability journey? So number one, start by identify key areas for monitoring. So you can't just start by monitoring everything. No, I don't think that's possible, because it's some of these sensors, some of these tools, observability tools, are really expensive. Yeah, they are really, really expensive. So begin small, start small. When I say start small, like identify key areas of your project that would benefit the most. Let's say you can in your whole line, you can see that the most sensitive component is probably the crusher, because if you don't crush the cement, sorry, I keep using the cement industry to explain my points, because that's where I have mechanical engineering knowledge in. So I'll keep referring to that. So let's say the crusher, because without crushing you can't even start the whole cement process. So you will know that this is a key component, so you will start your monitoring from there. Find some IoT sensors, set them up, call a specialist. Obviously you can't do it by yourself. Call a specialist, let them tell you the right sensors to buy, and then set it all up. Another thing you can monitor is, probably you can see that this is particular equipment that keeps failing over and over again. So you want to know, and it's also a key component, so you want to know before it fails, so you can easily provide solutions before it fails. So you can start your monitoring from there. And then secondly, use OpenTelemetry for data collection. So as I was reading my bio, I worked with OpenTelemetry. What is OpenTelemetry? OpenTelemetry basically is a lot, but it's a project. It's become the standard for observability. So it is a component of OpenTelemetry called the OpenTelemetry Collector. And what it does is that it helps you to provide a way to collect and process telemetry data, such as metrics and traces, put it in all one location. And the beautiful thing about OpenTelemetry is that it is vendor neutral. What that means is that you're not tied to a specific vendor. So, for example, now you can decide to use Sematext as the place, because all those metrics, all those data that is being generated by the sensors and everything that you use to instrument your systems, you have to view it in a particular place. So you can use, for example, you can use Sematext. I work in Sematext. So you can view your metrics and logs on Sematext. You can use Grafana, you can use Dynatrace, you can use Datadog. So, but with OpenTelemetry, you're not tied to one vendor. You must not use Sematext. Let's say Sematext cost, no, Sematext cost is very nice. Use Sematext. Let's say Datadog's cost is really high, and then Sematext offers a better option for you. You can easily switch your your visualization platform, sorry, to Sematext. So thirdly, like I said, leverage monitoring platforms. All that data you're collecting or you're instrumenting will not be useful if you cannot see it yourself. You need something to view that data. Like I said, you can be sitting down in your parlor, you can sit down in your room, sit down in your office, sipping coffee, and you can instantly know what is going on in your system. And then finally, fourthly, start with pilot projects. So what are pilot projects exactly? So pilot projects are, projects that are not so big. I'll say not so big. Let's say you can zone in on your flow, on your engineering flow, or your flow, and then pick a part of that project and decide that I'm going to use observability in this project. And why do you want to do this? So that the team can get familiar with it. Because like I think who mentioned, people don't really sit well with change. Bishop mentioned it. So you need to take it easy. Like I remember when my boss said something about the whole IoT sensors. At first, then I didn't really have so much knowledge, so I felt threatened, because if the IoT sensors are doing the job, there's really no need for me to be running up and down, in the plant. Then what is now my use in the plant at that time? So, but what I did not even know then, and now what I know now is that the IoT sensors will just make my job easier. Like I don't need to be running up and down again. My job now will just be to be on my system and to make sure that I set the required alerts or the required alerts, so that when there's a problem, I'm instantly alerted. You understand? So start with small projects that your team can, get familiar with the tools, on how to use it, on where to use it, how to work with the alerts, because it can be a lot. I won't lie, it can be a lot. But when you start small, you can now scale up as time goes on. And then finally, set clear goals and KPIs. So define key performance indicators before starting your observability efforts, so that you can ensure that you're tracking the right data. So examples of KPIs you can include equipment downtime or project completion times. Okay, so you noticed that you're sending 100 grams of, or let's say 1,000 grams of cement into the crusher, and then, or let's say into the bucket elevator, and then at the end, at the end point, you're only getting 50 grams, or sorry, not 50, 1,000, you're only getting 500 grams of cement back. You can see that this is a very big problem. So you can tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to set up, I'm going to instrument, quote unquote, I'm going to instrument this bucket elevator, so that I can know what component is causing so much wastage. It can be that the vibration, of the bucket elevator while moving is so much, so the cement is just being wasted all around before it even gets where it needs to get to. Or maybe there's something in the train, the trail line, the rail line. Maybe there's a bump there or something, and from if you can set up the observability system, you can easily see that, okay, at so time, I realized that at anytime the bucket elevator is moving, at this period in time, there's this loss of weight. You can see that from 1,000 grams, at some point, you can see that, oh, it moved, it reduced to something like 700, and then it reduced to somewhere like 500. So So you can now pick out those points at those particular points. What is going on there? Is there some kind of dent? Is there some kind of problem that's causing the cement to waste? So you can tell yourself that, okay, for this month, this is my goal. I want to improve. I want to improve our usage, our resource utilization by 20% or by 30%. I know, and when you set these clear goals, you can easily, it will be easy to sell it to your, or your organization, and you can easily see the use of it in your project. So these are the 5 steps. I'm sure there are other steps, but these are the 5 steps I believe that if you follow, you can set up observability in your industry, wherever it is. So thank you for this very quick presentation. And if you have questions, please ask. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Aramasele. I don't have any question. You taught me very well. You're a very good teacher. I'll come back to you later if I have any question.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's move to our next speaker. I do hope he's here. Ebenezer, are you here? Okay, I don't think he's here, so I'm going to call on the next speaker, Samuel Okpara. He is a result-oriented civil engineer interested in highway and transportation engineering, structural design, and project management. When he isn't wearing his hard hat, he dabbles into digital marketing, direct publishing, and forex trading. Always looking forward to solutions for problems, spending time studying broad concepts, teaching, and taking action. He also loves to meet individuals with common goals of solving problems and increasing the standard of living for others. Today, he'll be talking on the impact of digital twin technology on infrastructure projects in the AEC industry. Welcome, Samuel. Samuel, are you here? Right. Samuel. Right. I think I should introduce Ebenezer because he says he's here. So I don't know any of you that is willing to speak first. Ebenezer is a young, dynamic architect passionate about sustainable design with a first class degree. He has his current experience with Atot Architect and he's well equipped to lead the charge towards greener housing. His expertise in sustainable practices and innovative solutions positions him well as a key figure in the field. He has strong academic background, including coursework on nature-based solutions and EDGE certification, demonstrating his commitment to creating environmentally friendly buildings. His practical experience at various firms has honed his skills in construction management and design thinking. His dedication to sustainable architecture is evident in his academic pursuits and practical experiences. He has consistently focused on exploring innovative approaches to address the challenges of climate change, such as nature-based solutions and energy-efficient designs. Beyond his professional achievements, he is actively involved in promoting environmental awareness and sustainable development. His leadership experience and collaborative spirit make him a valuable advocate for sustainable housing solutions. He is poised to play a significant role in shaping the future of sustainable housing and inspiring others to join the movement towards a more environmentally responsible built environment. So that is Ebenezer. So any of you that is ready to speak, I'm ready to listen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Who just
Hello?
spoke? Yes, Samuel, we can hear you.
All right, all right. Thank you. So sorry for I was having connection issues on my side. But can you guys hear me right now? Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much. Good day to every of the speakers on the next launch. Thank you so much. I really learned a lot. Sir Ayo, Ma Oladayo, Sir Remosele. It's been an amazing lecture since 12 o'clock. I've been learning, knowing, in fact, I think I've been taught on my topic, despite the research that has been made within the few couple of days. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. All right. My name is Samuel. Once again, I'm a graduate of civil engineering from Covenant University. Uh, God has been faithful. One was able to finish the first class result. It was not easy, but God was on our side. Um, Currently working with Julius Berger under the ACD department. That's majorly the highway and transportation faculty at Abuja here. Thank you so much, like I said. So everybody reached out to me. I think that was this week, earlier this week, and she told me uh, to speak on this phase. I saw the speakers and I'm like, these are the people I learned from. Sir Ayo, I'm one of the students and dance stroke. So I was like, how will I come here and speak on a topic my boss is teaching me on? So it's a really great privilege, and I do not take it for granted. Hopefully, I will be able to pass how we can connect tech with the AEC industry. Thank you very much. All right. So quickly, I'll be presenting on impact of digital twin technology on the infrastructural projects in the AEC industry, right? AEC industry is as old as we know it. As long as there are three basic need of man: food, shelter, and clothing. And the AEC comes in under the shelter faculty, right? That means it's a basic need, and so we can see far we've come in from mud houses, from grass houses to mud houses to building houses that will be able to adapt to the temperature within cold in the night. Cool in the night, cool in the afternoon or during the day, or warm during the night. So we've come a long way now, creating adaptable structures and projects in the AC industry. And majorly as engineers, and especially from what I've seen here working at Julius Berger, is that we are doing our best to be hands-on to connect tech with the day-to-day activities we run within the construction industry, right? And so making my research, I was able to pinpoint the part of how we can connect the digital twin technology to the infrastructural project. It's ongoing, but one can delve into it, hopefully, right? So okay, I don't know if I can share my slide, but so I'll just read it from here, right? So I'm going to the
You
technical
can share
context
your
in the
slide. You
introduction.
can share your slide.
All right. I did not see the picture, but on my that's the reason why I didn't bother to continue. But I'll just read it from here since I shared. So we have I'll quickly go through the introduction, the definition, examples, and types of twin technology, the application benefits, the challenges, and the future prospects that can help us along the way. So yeah, simply digital twin um is literally in the topic itself. A digital twin is a highly detailed virtual replica of a physical asset, system, or infrastructure modeled using real-time data, simulation, machine learning algorithm to mimic the behavior, performance, and structure in the real world. So this digital twin technology was first introduced at NASA in 1960 when the Apollo's mission was to land on the moon, and so that was the first time a virtual replication of a physical product was being developed or being used to see how it will go through a lot of simulation, because that time it was not really easy for them to simulate physical objects on the moon. It was because that's their first time landing on it. So due to the different data they had or different information they had from rocket launch in 1959 and around the space, they were able to simulate different scenarios for the Apollo's mission using a digital twin of the physical objects, right? And so it was this particular concept that watered down, it was majorly watered down into the aerospace and the manufacturing industry, right? That's where we see digital twins technology being made for the jet engines of an aeroplane, or the manufacturing process of products, majorly, for example, for phones, for digital products generally. All right, for example, now let me use a phone that, if you know the Samsung phone. So this particular, definitely they've gone through the physical process of flipping, opening and unflipping the phone, right? But there has been this digital twin that has simulated the process over and over and over again under the same circumstances with the same data, and ensuring that there is a possibility to know um, what can happen and have a predictive maintenance along the future. So they emulate, major like I said, they emulate physical systems in a virtual setting, right? Getting real-time data. So definitely we've had a lot of especially the DIM. Thank you so much for Sir Yomide. Info the I in DIM was filled, was a really informative class, right? And we get to see that the major difference between DIM and digital twin is that DIM has to have a lot of data. We have to receive it, and that is where we are, because DIM is literally the foundation of digital twin if we are to adopt it in the AEC industry generally. And so it replicates physical systems to predict failures and opportunities for changing. It can be used to monitor performance, behavior, conditions of assets throughout its life cycle. So one thing I want to note, right? One thing I want to note before I go on is that sorry, that digital twin technology focuses, for the examples that I'm going to go to examples of live digital twin technologies that have been implemented within infrastructural projects right now in the world. That digital twin technology focuses on the entire lifespan of assets. That's the structure, majorly the post-construction phases, such as operations, maintenance, and even decommissioning. So I was able to get more insight from Mr. Sir Eremosele, a lecture on observability. Thank you, sir. All right. And we could see that the digital twin technology also follows that procedure, because it requires real time data information to follow infrastructural development. So it requires AI, Internet of Things sensors, computer, cloud computing, machine learning, data analytics to function. You understand? It integrates vast amounts of real-time data from various systems, just to provide a comprehensive view of the physical assets, current and predicted. And so we have types of digital twin scenarios that are shown along the way, right? Let me quickly get it to the slide. Sorry. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have, there are majorly three types of digital twin. We have the product twin, the process twin, and the system twin. So the product twin is just simulating individual components like a single building block. Or for example, let me use one of the major um, process of creating constructing roads, especially here in Abuja, is the expansion joints. The expansion joints are very important because the metals, materials tend to expand under high temperatures and tend to contract under low temperature. So the extraction joint for our bridges, especially when we're installing bridges, is always there. We need, it's very, very important. Definitely, we've done our best to go through a lot of QAQC, that's the quality assurance and quality control on the system, but we can see ourselves using a system of digital twin, that's the product twin, of simulating that particular component out of the entire bridge structure. That's actually the expansion joint, right? We can simulate it, put it under stress, how will they expand under this particular temperature. Okay, Abuja runs can span up to maybe 36 to 40 degrees Celsius within the day, or can come down to about, okay, we've never reached 0 degrees before, but I mean, we can do that simulation on how it contracts and expand over time, right? And then the next is the process twin. We find ourselves simulating how different elements interact over time. That's the entire process, such as how the bridge or road can handle traffic. Because whether I would like it or not, there will be the structural elements we build, right? Over time, we have to deal with influx of traffic. Maybe when they were built 10 years ago, the general population of a particular city might have been 10 million, and right, maybe about 1 to 2 million people had access to vehicles that could or they could use the road transport of system, right? And we have to give that scenario of, okay, how long can we last if we're assuming that the population grows up to maybe 20 million, 50 million, and okay, 50 million is a lot, 30 million, and let's say a good number of people are going to do well along the way. How can we simulate the process of loading from cars, from vehicles, and the number, I mean, how is the traffic flow? Can we predict? So these are the ways we can work with digital twin. Uh, yeah, calculations are involved, but we can increase the number of cars, literally just getting a real time with the real time data we have. And then we have system twin, which offers a complete model of an infrastructural system, such as the road network. That's the entire road network from Bega to Bega roundabout here, or straight to Central, Abuja Central, or General, right? So that is the types of digital twins. They are just most of them, I know they have the ability to combine the entire processes, the product, the process, and into a system, right, and implement them. So one of the amazing things is the application of the examples. I'm sorry, let me have to be very fast, right? So I know before I sound optimistic or perfect, here are examples of structures that are already implementing um, digital twin technology. So the first of them is the Los Angeles Stadium at SoFo Stadium. Houses people know much about NFL. It houses the NFL team such as LA Rams and LA Chargers, right? The first time I got to know about SoFo Stadium was we wanted to when we wanted to learn the propagation of sound. That's audio engineering. Because it's very hard to propagate sound of an event, and most of us they've used SoFo Stadium to run Super Bowl multiple times within the past 5 years. And so we wanted to study how sound was propagated easily, because the stadium is big. It's not like as if everybody's wearing an headphone or something. And so we got to know, I didn't even know that, luckily, I didn't even know that, so the Sophie Stadium was also implementing the digital twin technology, right? And it's amazing. So the digital twin technology was created as the stadium was created under construction starting in 2020, and it collects real-time data and real-time updates from every of the park. So it doesn't just collect real-time data from the stadium itself. It goes ahead to pick up real-time information from every park operations and every platform, so that it can answer questions for event organizers. How much can we take in? What's the loading? What's the process generally? And let me point this out quickly. I think I said it before. Digital twin requires Internet of Things sensors because it's dealing with real-time information, right? Cloud computing. While receiving data, we're sending it to the cloud, while requiring machine learning. And that's the reason why we have to partner with quite a number of software companies and possibly cybersecurity companies. When I will get there and explain. Then the next is Los Angeles is doing an amazing job. Los Angeles Transportation, they have done their best to partner with Open Mobility Foundation to create a data-driven digital twin of the city's transport infrastructure, right? So with time, we need to simulate, we need to find out how much traffic flow our roads or our through network can control. Especially here at Central, especially here at General, because we can't just build and then move on, right? Road structures, infrastructures are there to stay for quite a while, right? And we need to understand that simulating situations or real-time scenarios with real-life information that we have, real-life data that we have, makes our job easier to maybe maintain or make things better. So Los Angeles transportation models the movement and availability of the of the micro mobility solutions, such as the city's network of shared use of bicycles, scooters, and to cover the ride sharing services, right? And ensure that you understand the inflow from time to time. Then last but not least is, I'm sure most of us have heard of this, is the world's first 3D printed bridge, which is at Central Amsterdam, right? Most of us are very heard about 3D printing, a 3D printed house, trying to find a more cost effective way of building houses in the system. Um, and so the world's first 3D printed bridge up till now has a digital twin, right, with network of sensors across the platform of the structure, gathering data over time, so that if it's possible, if it's possible, it can um it can be replicated, possibly, hopefully, other structures or other need for a 3D printed bridge. Maybe possibly at least you could easily replace pedestrian bridge along the way. But for now, it's still under current test, current stress analysis for everyday use. All right. This application, well, where can the application of digital twin technology come in or should come in AEC industry, right? Because right now we are literally looking for I know we know a lot when it comes to the structure of the building, how we know how we can move it from from the bottom to top, right? But when we want to invoke the technical aspects or the digital aspects of the statue, we definitely need the help of other aspects of engineering, like software engineers, mechanical engineers. We're now looking at cybersecurity firms to guide our data. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot. Well, one thing I want to state out is that BIM, building information model, is a prerequisite, or should I say, the foundation of digital twin technology is needed, because there are a lot of data, there are a lot of information required to be able to simulate structures or infrastructures real time. It's a lot. It's a lot. But let me just quickly go ahead and move on. Right. So the first is operation and maintenance. So once the project is completed, digital twin can be used to manage the assets throughout its lifetime. That's checking for faults, checking for understanding where stresses the stresses are a lot at, right? Knowing whether we can perform predictive maintenance along the way, monitoring the real-time performance of the system, and then it can also be used for disaster simulation and resilience planning. Luckily for us here on in Africa, we are very uh, I would have said prone into the word like that to earthquakes, right? But we have actually, for the issue that happened in Maiduguri, that's the Ura Dam that collapsed, right? This is not the first time. It actually went above the overhead in 1999 and caused a lot of flooding at Maiduguri, right? So digital simulations for having a digital twin of our dam ensures that we're able to predict the water level, the processes that come through, right? And ensure that we are planning towards it. It's the issue that happened at the it's a failure that the damages will take time for the engineers on site to repair. But one thing that we can avoid, one thing that we can plan for, by having a digital twin of very important infrastructures that control. You can we obviously that people say that every 50 years, like my professor was saying, there are some particular um what's the word? There are some particular natural occurrence that cannot be controlled. You just can't control them. Earthquakes, they will come. There are earthquakes, floods, but we can soften the impact, right? And so digital technologies can give us the ability to model how infrastructures will respond under different scenarios and develop strategies to improve resilience, right? And maybe and also another big thing is design optimization, right? BIM covers this a lot. BIM covers the construction phase and CAD, sorry, CAD of the structure. It doesn't mean that design optimization, but you can see the digital thing coming to help in that particular scenario. All right. So the benefits of digital twin technology, right? Sorry, let me. Where am I? Where am I? Okay. The benefits of digital twin that comes in place is improve design and efficiency. One thing is that we are yes, it makes things a lot easier. But regardless, for any particular structure, work has to be done for when it comes. That's why our data analysts have to come in place. Work has to be done to impute data, the correct data, to ensure that we can improve design and efficiency, right? So it's, for example, now in designing a dam, it is that twin can simulate different water flow rate, that's the laminar or turbulent flow, right? And environmental condition, whether there is a lot of slurring, whether there's a lot of slug at the bottom of the dam, how does it affect the dam along the way, right? So it can lead to a better material use or or an enhanced predictive maintenance, because there's some kind of maintenance that has to be done when it comes to structures that have to do with life and death or can affect a particular area, right? And so it can enhance collaboration and data driven decision making. So digital twin can provide a shared data environment, allowing architects, our engineers, and constructors to have access to the same real-time data, right? The transparency reduces miscommunication and errors, right? And enhancing teamwork across multiple disciplines. And one of the major things is the predictive maintenance and life cycle management, right? It is having data from the sensors, from the IoT sensors, noticing issues, and immediately in that are embedded in the infrastructure can easily detect wear and tear, enabling proactive maintenance before the problem escalates, right? And for example, now in a railway network, digital twin can predict trail degradation based on traffic data, weather patterns, the usage rates, sorry, across. We don't really we're not keen users of railway transportation here in Nigeria, but we're doing our best. Especially from Abuja, we are having railways that move across cities, right? But once we get there, having a digital twin of our railway networks enables us to find degradation easily. I mean, it requires a lot of monitoring, a lot of data that from our IoT sensors in time to time, but it makes it a lot easier. So we're able to address issues before they become critical, right? And sustainability and environmental impact, right? It can help to model in energy use, carbon emission, and project a life cycle of a particular structure, right? I mean, we have always, that's one of the things that we do in engineering. Whenever we're done calculating our load, both dead and live, we always put the factor of safety. We always put in a 1.4, 1.6, or 1.7 to the load so that we can ensure that we simulate the reinforcements and the grade of concrete for our structure. Right? And so we're able to having a how will I put it, having a correct or a quality structural design for a building enables us to predict that okay, this building is going to stand 100 years, it's going to stand 50 years, it's going to, you understand, it's going to stand there. But one thing with the digital twin is that we're able to simulate the entire project's life cycle generally, you understand, along the way. And so it might be all good to it might be all good and good to be true, but we need to understand that there are a lot of challenges and barrier to this adoption, right? It sounds nice, right? I'm glad for people like Sir Ayomide, who keeps on putting us through BIM and CAD system, right? I really appreciate. I'm a student of Downstroke. I think I said it here. I'm a student of Downstroke, and I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot, and a lot of my classmates too are also doing the same, right? So one thing we need to understand is that for us to adopt this particular technology, that we need to consider the cost. The cost alone for building a structure is a lot. Most of the projects that we run here at Bega are mostly government owned. The federal government, FCDA, gives us the project, right? There's the government, or either they are taking loan from the China companies to run the projects, or they are simply taking from their budget, the national budget. That most of the projects we've run, and they are running into trillions of naira, right? It's a lot just working from the structural designs, from the drawings, from the contractors, but not involving a digital twin technology alongside the structure is a lot, because it requires significant upfront investment in technology, data collection, and workforce training, right? it's a lot, but it's possible. It's been done right around the world. And so another challenge is data integration, right? So one of the biggest technical challenges we might face in adopting digital twin technology is that we need to integrate data from various sources, right, into a single coherent model. Different sources, right? Infrastructural projects often involve multiple stakeholders and data formats, right, which might complicate data sharing, but it's possible. It can be done from time to time, right? And then another issue is skill gap. Right? There's a growing need for engineers and construction professionals, right, to upscale in the areas of data analytics. Right? We didn't really believe that we need. Thank God for people like my Ziba, right? Engineers who do not want to leave the field of engineering, but are also involved in the field of data analytics, AI, Mr. Remo, sorry, mechanical engineer. I say software engineer. I'm glad at least there is a bridge between the concept of building, manufacturing, and Internet of Things, right? So having these particular individuals are able to close the skill gap in bringing to life this digital technology, right? And also to manage it, right? So firms, for us to be able to, we have to invest a lot in training and education to ensure that the teams can fully leverage the capabilities of digital twins, right? And then last but not least, is cybersecurity risks. So a lot of, I mean, the team that spoke today was like almost like a complete sword, a complete squad, right? One thing we need to understand is that we are dealing with a lot of data to produce a digital twin, right? And so there will be cyber security risks. Why? Because a lot of data that are collected and shared across various platforms can be stolen and can lead to cyber attacks. Like for example, now I here in Abuja, I don't here in Abuja, we the water board, houses are not allowed, or should I say, are prohibited to have whole system. And now imagine every housing system has a borehole system, right? It's kind of detrimental to the water table, and it requires around the society or within the environment. So generally across Abuja here, we have a water board system that study at Gwari, right? There is I forgot the name, Ija Dam that controls water majorly for feeding water into housings, like drinking water for major processes, right? And so imagine a city that is using a digital twin for their water management system, right? And there is hacking, like their system, their data has lost to cyber attacks, could really cause it could cause a disrupt their critical services. Right? So there is a need for cyber security when it comes to the making of the cyber security for the data, and when it comes to the making of the digital twin technology generally, right? So the future prospects for the digital twin in the AEC industry is one thing that we can look forward to make things a lot easier is AI. We've seen how amazing AI has been for the past 2 years. I mean, the first time I saw ChatGPT, it was in November of 2022, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice. It looks a bit weird in the fact that the way it's able to dispense information so fast, so quick, and okay, so most of the times accurate. Uh, could be helpful in creating a digital twin technology. All right. So maybe automating decision making process, right? Analyzing large data sets for patterns, right? Improving predictive maintenance capability. I'm sorry, I don't really have much information about AI, right? But I believe AI integration into this technology can make it a lot easier for us, right? And also IoT and smart cities, right? As cities continues to become sorry, as cities become smarter, right, digital twin will play a key role to urban planning, from traffic management to energy distribution and disaster preparedness, right, and then sustainability. So with increased emphasis on sustainability, we can see digital twin helping the ACE industry to build, maintain green infrastructures, and so on and so forth. So I'm rounding up now. From what we can see is that digital twin can represent paradigm shift in how the AEC professionals approach infrastructural design. Is a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. BIM already is takes takes a lot from us when we are using, right, with data entries, understanding how we were able to get the right information from time to time, right? But there is a possibility that it can just change. I mean, the manufacturing industry are using it. The aerospace industries are using it, right? And so by adopting the technology, we can ensure that we can enhance our efficiency, sustainability, our resilience, and also improve collaboration across disciplines. Right. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for the opportunity to present this topic. Right. And I hope we are able to learn one or two things along the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you. You did an amazing job with this topic. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot on digital twin construction. It's one of the areas I've been thinking of looking into. So you foiled fire. You foiled fire. All right, we'll call our last speaker for today. Banjo Mobolaji Ebenezer, our architect in the building, the only architect in the building. So let him come and defend everything you have said about his area. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you so much, everyone. It's so nice to be here. I've learned a lot. I've heard so many things. I've heard things that I'm like, wow. All right. Yeah. So, well, it's great to be here, and I thank you all for having me here. Like you said earlier, my name is Banjo Ebenezer, and I'm really passionate about sustainability, especially in the built industry, AEC industry to be more specific, that's architecture, engineering, and construction industry. So before I dive in, I'll be speaking on the topic um, sustainable housing solutions, bridging the gap. Sustainable housing solutions, bridging the gap. So let me just quickly, briefly define some phrases. So sustainability. I have 20 minutes. I don't have much time, and I need to join up to another event at the moment. So I'll be as brief as possible. So sustainability, it's doing things with the future in mind. So building in this context now with the future in mind. Now coming back home to Lagos, Nigeria, Africa as a whole, building with the future in mind. Um, Let me quickly read some statistical projections. um, at the moment, Nigeria's population is about 200 and let's say 230 million plus, and by 2015, their speculations, their projections, with an annual growth rate of about 2.5%, our population is going to increase to almost 400 million by 2050. And out of that 400 million, over 50% of them will be living in urban spaces. So it's a no-brainer that we need to build to accommodate these people. So to accommodate these people. And this projection also shows that out of this 400 million, about 50 50 million people, almost 50 million people, it's about 40 something million, almost 40 million people would be homeless. So yes, the okay, or we would have an housing deficit of 400 40 million. So housing deficit estimates the the amount of units of housing needed by the people at the moment. So in Lagos State, various studies have showed an estimated housing deficit in Nigeria to be millions of units. For example, Lagos State Housing Needs Survey found a significant shortfall in housing demand compared to the supply of housing. So Nigeria's urban planning and development is lagging far behind, and the pressure of increasing urban population and urbanization has created this huge divide between the the need or the supply of houses and the demand of housing stock in this essence now. Nigerian urban population living in slums are estimated to be about 49%, according to a report by World Bank. It said because if you look at it, the proper definition of a slum, over 50% or over 49% of what we currently have fits into that category. And how do we? This doesn't contribute. These are the things. A slum is definitely not a sustainable area. So these are the things when we talk about sustainable communities and building sustainable communities and cities. Slum doesn't fit in those categories. And now speaking about housing now, um, for example, in Nigeria, housing housing or the built industry accounts for about just 6% of our GDP. So it shows that there's a long um way to go. For context, countries like United States of America have their housing sector worth about 16% of their GDP. Obviously, they have a larger GDP than us here in Nigeria, but you can still see that with their larger GDP, they still have a larger share in that portion. So there's a lot to be done. The World Bank estimates Nigeria's housing deficit to about 15.6 million units in 2021, but in 2023 and earlier this year, according to the Nigeria government state house, the housing deficit is at about 28 million units, needing, and they also speculated that a total amount of about 21 trillion will be needed to fully to satisfy this need. And this is just at the moment. So by the time, because the construction industry is this, let's say, a slow paced industry, because of the amount of time it needed to build and get the structures in place. So before we even say we want to satisfy this 28 million units at this moment, before we finish building it, by the next maybe 5, 10 years, 15 years, we see that there's an incremental need already. So we're not definitely not be dealing with 28 million housing deficit by the next 10, 20 years from now. So that is why this is a very, very crucial and very, very important part of the country. So um the World Bank estimated that, yeah, like I said, estimated that there are about 15.6 million units in, of housing deficit in Nigeria, which accounts for about 8% of the population. Why this may seem nice on the outlook, especially in context to other African countries at the moment, it's not sustainable. It's not something that we can hold on to, because projection Africa is currently experiencing a population explosion, a population bloom, and we need to build to satisfy this need and not further widen this gap. So the major stakeholders in this industry or in satisfying this need, I can categorize them into three major parts. So we have the government, the private sector, and the professionals. Now, the private sector are divided into, so the private sector, that's the professionals and the, should I say, the investors now, or the contractors now, or the developers now, because they also are a very important stakeholder if we want to tackle this problem of sustainability. But I'll be speaking more from the government side, because let's face it, the government has a very huge role to play in meeting this demand. Yes, not like the government has everything to do, but yes, they have a very huge role to play in this in satisfying this. So over the years, the government has tried to implement some strategies to curb this menace, to fight this and satisfy these needs. There are some of them like the NEEDS 2003 project, which was set out to build about 100,000 units. Then Vision 20 of 2020 came, but that one along the line failed due to some planning. Then they have the ERGP, the like. But at the moment, the current strategy that's in place is the NIIS structure program, and that is set. It's set for the next 23 years. It was implemented, or its initial implementation came up in 2020, and it's to run to 2043. And the projection or the goal of this is to build um 1.2 million houses annually. And yes, there have been strategies to build this, to get to this goal. Without number, we'll be hitting about 40 million units of housing by 2043, and this in a way is going to reduce the gap not totally eradicate it, because you can't for a fact tell the amount of of demand that will be on housing stock. So some of the strategies in this NIM NIMP strategy includes the to improve the legal and regulatory framework, because yes, we build on land and the land is owned by the government. So this there has to be proper regulatory and um, legal framework to ensure that the land or the possession gets into the right hand, and it can be properly utilized. Also, need increased access to fund. So in all this thing, if we look at it and we speak from a point of view of factuality, because yes, I was speaking with somebody about this topic a while ago, and he was telling me, do you want the theory aspect or you want the practical aspect? If we're being theoretical, we can come up with strategies, we can come up with ways, we can come up with implementation ideas. But for a short fact, if we're looking at factual representation now, it's a fact that the the industry is a slow paced one, because you have to build. Construction is not a 2 minutes. Yes, the technologies that can im- and that can help us to save up time in this, but that doesn't cover the fact that construction is a slow paced industry. Then also look at it that it needs a lot of financing. It needs huge financing, huge funds, because recurring these materials, especially if you look at the inflation rates now, especially of the country and things, it's increasing, and that is the more reason why this gap is widening, because the mortgages that are supposed to be accessible to everybody, the gap is the gap between the low income earners and the middle and the low middle class income earners is so close, and the gap between them and the high income earners are so much. So there is no much purchasing power to even key into any of these mortgage strategies or mortgage implementations. So that is why it is important that these stakeholders come together to battle this problem out. So, like I said, the government has a huge role to play, because they are the major party involved in regulatory policies and that aid the implementation of these ideas. So where does the private sector come in now? Where does the private sector come in now? Because the private sector are the most, let's say, the most liquid set of people. They have cash at and they are ready to monitor what they put their money into. Yes, they are profit driven and they know how to guide this thing. They may say they have a point, because they add to the number of housing stock annually a huge chunk, much more than the government. But then this stock that they are including in the industry is not affordable. They may target sustainable, target affordable, but let's face the reality of it. These prices are not affordable to the people that actually do need it. So this is why it is important that government and private sector to come together to make this to make battling or this or bridging this gap, yes, a reality. So some of the challenges that the housing and urban development sector in Nigeria has faced, like I said, pinpointed earlier, the mortgage inefficiency, and this is because there's income constraint. The lower income and the low middle income Nigerians struggle to afford this thing. They cannot afford this mortgages, and this mortgage has been a way out for. I'm going to get to that. Has been a way out for a lot of countries that have been able to bridge this gap. This mortgage has been this. So there's the there's also limited data. Like I said, all these facts that I've been saying, they are not 100% should I say, factual or accurate, but these are the closest to what we have. So, like some of the speakers have mentioned, the use of adopting the implementation of BIM, which is BIM, Building Information Modeling. Like the previous speaker said, talked about digital twins, so we can have an exact understanding of the problem we're trying to tackle. So one other challenge that's faced in this industry is the land use act issue. So yes, the government owns government is the owner of the land and gives um should I say loans, or should I say gives use to the citizens. So the state ownership, the Land Use Act of 1978 vests land ownership in the power of the state. But there's an issue in trying to make all these states governments apply and implement these strategies. The modern mortgage and foreclosure law is a proposed legislation development by the Nigerian Mortgage Finance Company to streamline and modernize the mortgage and foreclosure processes in Nigeria. So the goal of this law is to create more efficient and transparent environments for both the lenders and the borrowers. So because this mortgage, it's yes, the profit driven. There has to be trust between the lenders and the borrowers, and if there's no transparency, they can't be very effective and efficient. So also there's a supply side challenge. This is where the cost of materials are going up through the roof. As at last year, the price of a bag of cement was about towards the ending of last year, it was close to 5,000. But now, one bag of cement is selling up to almost 10,000 and above. Now, imagine that kind of inflation. So there's the supply chain, the high cost of fund in the supply chain side of it. Also, like I've been saying earlier, population growth. There's rapid increase in population, and this has further accelerated the gap between the need and the supply. So what is available and what can be produced at the moment. So that is that about that. Then there's also slum settlement. Slum settlement, you can okay, slum settlement. Let me just read what I have here. Slum settlement, over half of the urban population live in slum, indicating lack of suitable housing. But you can 100% put blame, or yes, they have their own role to play in it. But then the reason for this slum settlement is because they gather around infrastructures that are necessary for livelihood, roads, schools, hospitals, and this and that. So that is why we have this concentration in a small area. And when there's overpopulation in a small area, less in with time that area is going to turn to a slum area, because the 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 demand of the people living in that area, the infrastructure cannot satisfy it. So also there's also land process issues. The bureaucracy in the process is so long that it even discourages a number of private sector giants from venturing into this. So what are the key strategies that we can adopt to mitigate or close down this gap in close down this gap of housing? So we have commoditization and industrialization. So I'm going to dwell on this a bit. Commercial and commoditization. So we are to, the value of an house or of a property is dependent on what is around it. The value of a land is depending on what is around it. So the availability of infrastructure, this is where the government comes into play. The availability of infrastructures is going to increase the value of the land in a particular area, which further encourages the move of these private sector giants in this development. Because let's face the fact, government alone cannot do this. And also industrialization, the need of technology. This is where prefabrication comes in. This is where the use of beam comes in. This is where the use of like some of the speakers said, 3D printing of houses. Yes, is also another solution of this. In the use of sustainable building materials that are more contextual, that suit the culture of the people, materials that are available in our own to us here. So the use of these strategies is going to go a long way in addressing these issues. Also, geomapping, the use of advanced mapping techniques to inform planning and development decisions. So when there is no proper planning, I was at an event. I was at an event with some time ago, which is the I'm trying to remember the name. So it's the Green Building Society of Nigeria. Yes, organized this event. Then talked about housing. Then one of the speakers came. He's a town planner, and he spoke. He said something about the population of Nigeria, the population of Lagos State, for example. Now let me use Lagos as a context. Now you say Lagos is populated, Lagos is jam packed. There's no space in Lagos again. This and that. But if you look at it, the population density of Lagos is far less compared to other more other this thing, cities like cities like Barcelona and the likes. They are more populated. They have more population density. That is the amount of people living in a particular area. But these places are well planned. Because they are well planned, the cities are hospitable and sustainable. So this is where geomapping comes in. The use of technology, properly planning and sorting out these infrastructures and development before making this decision. Like they say, Abuja is one of the most planned cities in Nigeria, and even in Africa. Yes, so because Abuja was properly planned, because that's why when you go to Abuja, some of the challenges that we face here in Lagos, you don't see them in Abuja, and they are very strict with the implementation of their policies. Because I've worked in Abuja, and I've worked with the Special Development Authority before, so I know how strict they are with this their policies. So this leads us to the policy framework. So they need to be comprehensive regulatory framework to address the supply and the demand side. This is where the stakeholders need to come in. The stakeholders, the government, the private sectors, and also the professionals in this industry of what should be standards. Because the people that set these standards most times are not even in the industry, are not professionals. So this is the tiny, tiny issues that will go a long way. Because when there's a standard for the kind of materials to be used, and when she specify um, um, the more available materials to use in the community or in the area, it just can drive down the cost of building, and also, in other words, increase the number of housing stock that can be brought in and injected into the system. So we look at mortgage bank development. We need to improve the access to financing, because one issue that plagues the mortgage bank at the moment is the amount of bureaucracy involved. There are so many bureaucracies, and you can't blame them, because there's a wide gap. There's no trust between the lenders and the borrowers. That's why they have to fill a million forms before you can access this thing. The purchasing power of the people, of the buyers, of the borrowers are not strong enough. So then also we need to promote the practice. We need to promote and prioritize sustainable building practices, and reduce waste and invest in green technologies. Just like the previous speaker has said, the use of building information technology, the use of digital twin, real-time technology to monitor even even lifetime assessment cycles to monitor and ensure that infrastructures that affect and are critical are in place, are necessary, are available to further close down this gap. So I'm going to just quickly take a brief example of two countries that have been able to tackle this challenge. My time is fast spent, so I'm just going to quickly. I'm going to be using the example of China and Singapore. So what are the strategies that China adopted in bridging this gap? They used urban renewal and redevelopment. There was large scale removal of slum areas that are potential um hotspots in the community. There was a redevelopment of that area to suit the current need of the people in that area. There's some places in Lagos that you go to that are hot. Right, I'm talking about hot in terms of the commercial activities and commercial value of those places. But then you find out that these things are not used to their potential. They're not the value of the land of these things are not maximized to ensure that to bridge the gap of this housing. Also, there was mass housing construction, government led projects between public and private partnership to build affordable houses that are not just affordable on quote, but are truly affordable to the people. So land reforms in China, there were land reforms that commission conversion of agricultural lands that were in the city areas, in the cityscape, to for urban development. This in turn added more to the housing stock in China, and also there was financial incentives. There were financial incentives make it attractive. These private sector giants are the ones with the money. Make it attractive for them to come into the business. Don't frustrate the efforts of building estates. They want to build an estate in an area. Government can make roads to lead to that area that further increase the value of that area. So the people don't have to migrate to the already developed areas that have already reached like their peak of should I say of development already. So people don't keep on migrating, and you can sort of a number of things. So there was rural, and also they adopted strong rural migration policies, ensuring that migration ensuring migration to elevate housing pressures in rural areas. So when I look at Singapore, there were some of the strategies that they employed was the use of public housing development. The Housing Development Board played a central role in the development and managing of public housing. So houses were built in mass and by competent hands to provide the housing stock. So this, if I'm going to read out some of the strategies, and I'm going to just shed light to some things. Land use planning, strict urban planning, density control, infrastructure development, then also the development of public transport, because accessibility, development, houses, or yes, houses that people live in are what are the ones that are close to infrastructure. Some of the housing should I say housing strategies or housing activities that the government has done before. They did them in maybe in remote areas of in the cities that people don't really want to live in. So those structures end up being abandoned because there's no appropriate infrastructure to support the livelihood of the people that are supposed to use the houses. So there are houses that are empty that are not even used at all. So this is where the government comes into play, providing a basic necessary infrastructure that also attracts development in those areas and makes sure that these houses are inhabited. And also, housing grants were also critical. So when there are few organizations that support housing grants. You look at the Light of Shelter Africa that finance huge housing development projects. So we need more of these to to pump funds into this industry because we cannot overemphasize the need for fund in actually closing this gap. So I've discussed today a number of I've discussed today the housing crisis in Nigeria, the complex issue, how far-reaching these consequences are, and how working together can create sustainable and equitable housing for all. So we need to commit to prioritizing affordable housing housing that are affordable, yeah, affordable housing affordable to every level of Nigerians, irrespective of this. And this is where pre-professionals come into place because we are the one that are actually in this industry. We should go out there and be on the tables when they're making these policies, not just be adamant. We should also make sure that we employ these sustainable building practices, these are sustainable building materials, elements, and also technology that reduce the amount of waste that is produced or the amount of waste that can be produced and also the amount of quantity that can be mass produced. Also, we need to promote sustainable development, building homes that are environmentally friendly and resilient to climate change. And we need to strengthen um, partnership and collaboration between the private sector, the government, and the communities, and also the professionals. So, three major things that I take away from that are important to bridge this gap. We need to prioritize affordable housing, not just affordable by name, but affordable in terms of the actual cost, the actual purchasing power of this, so that it's available for those that actually really, really need it. And also, we need to promote sustainable development practices because yes, the construction industry accounts for almost 40% of the global greenhouse gases emission in the industry. We are the largest consumers of materials, the largest consumers of water, the largest consumers of energy, even electricity itself. So we need to be more sustainable in our approaches in our strategy. Then also we need to strengthen um, um, the the partnership between these major stakeholders. And I know together we can close this gap of um, of 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 housing. Thank you very much for listening to me.
All right, thank you very much, Ebenezer. That was a very like some of those regulations. I have no idea about them, so maybe I'll come back to you for more insight on it. So as we're about to round up, I just want the speakers still available. Just say like a word to our audience, something like you wish someone could have told you on time, because the area I'm specializing in now, if I knew that my 5 years in school, it wasn't exactly necessary. Do you get? But like, we need to actually teach our younger ones how to make the right choice in the aspect of our career lines. So yes, any other you can go, any other.
Okay. So I think one is that like they are big. Let's face the fact they are big problem, but with the solutions don't have to actually come in large chunks. So we don't have to look at it. We shouldn't necessarily look at problems that okay, if I cannot solve 10% of the problem, then there's no point of me being in it. As a professional, you matter, you count, you are very important to this industry. And this little step, believing that your contribution matter, it may be small, but it matters. but it's the contribution to it. So believing that you are very necessary and important to bridging these gaps and bridging these issues and solving these problems goes a long way in our mentality, and goes, for me as an architect, it goes to, it influences the way I design my buildings. So whatever industry, whatever I specify, whether in the architecture design space or in the engineering space or in the construction space, you should see that your contribution, your quota is also very important, no matter how small it is. So this is something I wish I had known earlier. So I would have been lots more intentional about the way I did my thing, but and what I was consuming and learning. So yes, that's it for me. That's what I just want to add to that.
All right, thank you. Samuel, you can go.
Hello,
Or
hello.
Theo.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
All right. One thing, like you said, the 5 years in our university, we bless God. Especially the first 2 years. One thing I've learned so far, actually, uh, with the hands-on experience for the past 1 year, right, is straight to the point, right. I know as much as possible as we are trying to understand whether an individual knows numeric values, knows English, knows every other topic, we are looking for innovators in this sector. And as quickly as possible as you can ping their interest in compiling data, um, getting information to execute as soon as possible. Yes, it takes quite a while, I mean, to learn, but there were some unnecessary filters that were not really needed. Because right now, here on site, here on the field, it is implementation, planning, information, data. What's the analysis? How was this done before? It's fast. Things move extremely fast. And an individual on a learning curve who cannot endure the test of time, I mean, to put through what they've learned or what they are going through, will fall by the way. And simply because of the how will I put it, the gaslighting or the exhaustion from bureaucracy identities from the curriculums from our school system, right? Engineering is all about planning, information gathering, data analytics. The need of that, in fact, data is so important here where we work, that it keeps on, like we have a server, like every system has a server that has an up-to-date project. Like from a server, you can see the data information on different side projects, whether here in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, on the spot. Like making needs to be made, speed has to be done, because in running speed, cost is same, right? And so as much as possible that we are engineers, right? The need of engineering individuals who are able to understand information, understand structures, understand infrastructure, and proceed data out of information, the correct information out of, put it into a system that can be able to enable us make fast decision making is very, very important, right? Because I'm just looking for an engineer. Let me put it, I'm just looking for, I'm a civil engineer by the way, but I'm just looking for engineers, right, that know about um how a building stands, how it stands, how it comes up, like how the foundation and everything. But there is more to that in this digital era. It's we need individuals like try people like Hepzibah. God bless you so much. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. The 5 years in school you went through, and then plus the excessive learning of you learning analysis, sorry, it's a lot. But people like you are becoming, or individuals like you are becoming well needed in the space, both not just in engineering, but in the architectural and the construction field, and possibly in other aspects of engineering like water and transportation. All right. So yeah, I said a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, Theophilus, are you ready to speak to us?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be concluding with this. We should keep learning. That's this. The experience of today has just taught me that there are a lot of things that we still need to learn and build ourselves on, even in the field. So the more we learn, the more we put ourselves in spaces where we'll be very, very important. It will be important in all aspects, not just aspects. So where I am is very knowledgeable. I also always conclude with it that you should keep learning. So there is a saying itself that when you stop learning, you start dying. And it's very true as far as it, even if you're in your career, when you stop learning, you start dying in your career. There are many aspects where you can need to learn. You need to learn and improve. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So with everything that has happened today, I'm thinking that our next faceless we have to bring in more academias and the students themselves so that they can actually speak for themselves. Because most of us here have left the school system in like 2 years to 1 year. So I believe our next event we should actually bring academias, these lecturers, these professors, so that they tell us out their point of view, because most of them still just focus on the traditional basis and all. And then let's bring our Gen Zs and Gen As so that they also tell us their point of view. I believe that should work because this AEC industry has to, by far, be like one of the best sectors in the world. Abi, everybody wants to live in a house now. Be AI wants to build house for us? No. So I think with that I've come to a close of today's Faceless event. Like it's been an amazing time, an amazing time. Like these speakers were, God, thank you. You guys were handpicked and you guys did amazing. Like I learned a lot. Even me, I was like, thank God I didn't give you guys topic. So yes, to the audience, they chose these topics themselves and they finished it well. So thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and for spending about 4 hours with us here. We are very grateful. We are very grateful. Thank you very much. And the audience that stayed from beginning to end, thank you too. Thank you too very much. Thank you. Have a very lovely day and enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow is Friday. Bye for now.